Okay, so let's start our 22nd meeting reading Urantia book with Heidi. Today is August 31st, 2023. We are going to read paper 109, relation of adjusters to universal creatures. The second part, self-acting adjuster. And we're also going to read paper 94, Melchizedek's teachings in the Orient, part 8, about Buddhist religion. 今天我们就是8月31号哈，是不是200 ，Yeah, I hope so， 是第22次与海地读御书会议今天我们读109篇的这个与思想调整者与他的宇宙造物的关系。第二部分是自我行事的思想调整者，然后我们还要读第94篇，麦基喜德的教导在东方的传播第8部分关于这个佛陀的教导，这个佛教的信仰。Okay, Heidi, I already opened up the floor, so you can begin your talk now.
Okay, good morning and good evening, everybody. And let me just start with just to refresh everyone's memory, or for new people that are listening to the recording and aren't familiar with this group. Most study groups are either sequential or topical, and that means that sequential study groups, they start the Urantia book at the very beginning and they read all the way through one paper at a time, and then when they're done they start again at the beginning again, because study groups sometimes go on for years and decades. So the other type is topical, where the host or the members pick a paper that they want to read and they read that at each study session. Our group is different in many ways, and one of the ways is that we've decided to I've decided actually to I don't want to get anyone else to take the blame, that because the book hasn't been translated into I have to let you translate.
他那个海蒂就是说，他就是在跟大家再说一下，因为读书会呢，一般是有基本两种形式，一种是这本书从头读到尾，那也有读好长时间了，甚至好几年的，然后读完了再从头读。那么还有一种是按主题这样去读，那么我们这个读书会呢是按主题来读。
Right.
Yep.
Okay. So both types of study groups are fine, and I've attended both types back in the day. I'll let you translate.
他说这两种应该都还可以，我都参加过这两种形式的读书会。
But because the book hasn't been officially, I should say, I think we have found that there are some translations out there, but because the book has not officially been translated into Chinese yet, or published in Chinese yet, but we do seem to have our hands on our first translation from one of our group members, but and there's ways now with technology that we can translate as we go. But because of that, and because a lot of the readers are either new to the book or haven't read the whole book yet, I've decided to read the sections of the book that I think will be the most helpful to know about in your life, and read in pretty much in that order, with a few exceptions. We skip around a little and add a paragraph here, a paragraph there, or a paper that will be of special interest to this group as well. We sandwich those in between the papers where we've decided to read first, second, third, etc. And well, you can translate.
对，因为这本书呢还没有就是有正式的出版的版本，中文的版本。当然，我们这个学习小组呢，就是也有一部分跟大家就是有一些的发布一些的翻译，但是呢，他是争取就是想跟大家分享这本书比较重要的那些部分，还有对我们生活有切实帮助的那些部分。
So, for new readers who have just discovered the book, I always recommend simply looking through the contents and reading papers that jump out at you, that really appeal to you first, because that will get you, that will draw you into the book and get you hooked a lot faster than beginning the book at the beginning, which is probably the hardest section to comprehend and absorb.
那么对新的读者可能就不怎么了解这本书的，那么他就是鼓励他要就是看那个目录，哪一部分你最感兴趣就跳进去读，这样就是可能更好一些。
That's how I read the book when I first found the book when I was 16. I just read the papers that just were so appealing to me, and I continued to just read paper after paper randomly for many years and then I decided to sit down and read the whole book through.
对，我就是16岁开始的时候就是这样子的，然后过后很长时间，然后才开始再把其他的没读的也读完。
And this was just a very natural and I would say user-friendly way to read it.
这个是比较的更容易上手的这么一种读这本书的方法。
However, many people want to read the book from the first page to the last, and that's how they do it, and that works for them.
有些人呢喜欢读是从第一页到最后一页，那么这种方式对他们来说，他们更愿意那样去读。
In our case, we want to read, I feel that, and I know Ricky agrees, that the Jesus Papers, which is the book is divided into 4 sections, and the 4th section is the life story of Jesus Christ. And I feel that is such an important section of the book, so profound, so moving, so important for everyone to read, even if you never want to read the rest of the Urantia book. That's our main focus to do first. But then I thought that even before that, we should read about the thought adjusters, because that's the fragment of God that lives inside each one of us. And I thought that will even, knowing about that is so important personally to each individual person, that I decided we should do that very, very, very first. And then we're moving on to the to the Jesus Papers.
第4部分关于耶稣的生活故事是那么样的深远动人所以这个很重要去先把它读了。但是在那之前呢，我就是说我们也很重要的就是读思想调整者的部分，知道我们每个人都有神的片段在我们里边呢。我认为这个是非常非常重要的，先知道这一点。
So we're reading all the papers on the thought adjusters, which are all in one place, and they were written by a solitary messenger.
那关于思想调整者的就是部分呢，都是由这个单独使者 他写作的都放在一起。
And we are on, as Ricky already said, we're on paper 109, section 2. And now we can start reading where we left off last week.
OK， 那么我们读到这是第3篇吧 109， 对，这是关于思想调整者的。那么我们今天就继续读了。
Okay, self-acting, number 2, section 2, self-acting adjusters.
第2部分叫自我行事的调整者。
You have been informed of the classifications of adjusters in relation to experience: urgent, advanced, and supreme. You should also recognize a certain functional classification, the self-acting adjusters. A self-acting adjuster is one who, you can translate.
Yeah, 我请一个 I'll ask one of our peers to read. 伙伴们，哪一个伙伴愿意就是读他就是翻译右边的部分，我来读他的，我来翻他的那个评论的部分。
Number 1. Okay, so these are all the things that make
有没有？
adjuster.
我来吧，
有没有？荣吗？
荣。
好好好，那荣你来读吧。Heidi,
好。
Ron is going to read the Chinese translation part. She's going to
Okay.
read the first paragraph. Okay, Ron,
Great.
go ahead.
好，自我行事的调整者，你已经被告知与经验相关的调整者类别，即初始类、高级类和至高类调整者。你还应该认识某种功能性类别，即自我行事的调整者。自我行事的调整者是指
Okay, so now should I read number 1?
Yes.
Okay, we're doing it the opposite way. Okay, number 1. Let me read 1 and then 2 and then let Ron read 2, okay?
Okay.
Well, okay, yeah, let me just read 1 and I'll go right to 2 and then she can read 2 and we'll do 1 at a time. Okay? So number 2 wait, did I just read 1 already?
No, you haven't.
Oh, now I'm all confused. Okay, I'll read 1 and I see, I was going to read 1 and then 2. Okay. Number 1, a self-acting adjuster is one who, number 1, has had certain requisite experience in the evolving life of a will creature, either as a temporary indweller on a type of world where adjusters are only loaned to mortal subjects, or on an actual fusion planet where the human failed of survival. Such a monitor is either an advanced or supreme adjuster. And number 2, has acquired the balance of spiritual power in a human who has made the 3rd psychic circle and has assigned to him a personal seraphic guardian. Ron can read, yeah. Number 2.
I'm here.
Okay.
有过某些在意志受造物进化生活的必须经验，要么在一类调整者只借给凡人主体的世界上作为一个临时内住者，要么在一个人类未能续存的实际融合行星上，这种告诫者要么是高明的，要么是 Ricky, the sharing is gone.
Ricky is gone?
Ricky.
Uh-oh. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
You lost the sharing, the screen
Yes.
share, or?
Yes, we lost the sharing.
Oh,
Ron, did you finish number 2?
Not yet. I haven't even finished the first part. No
Okay.
more.
So I have to move the screen up and down. Otherwise, it will, can just disappear by itself. Okay,
Oh,
where are
okay.
you?
I'm in the last one for number 1. 这种告诫者，要么是高级的，要么是至高的调整者。2，已在一个人身上获得了灵性力量的平衡，这个人已经进入第3个心灵圈，并已给他分配了一个个人的智天使，分配了一个个人的智天使守护者。
Okay.
Okay, Ricky, I'll make a comment.
Yes.
So on number 2, it says he has acquired the balance of power, who has made the 3rd psychic circle, has acquired the balance of spiritual power in a human who has made the 3rd psychic circle and has assigned him a personal seraphic guardian. Well, we're going to read about the 7 psychic circles in very, very shortly. And the 3rd psychic circle is you start at number 7 and you go through 7 in your lifetime, but many people do not achieve all 7 in their lifetime, but you can achieve up to 7. But you start at 7 and you work your way to number 1. And number 3 is a very important psychic circle, because when you get to number 3, that's when you are evolved enough to require your own personal seraphic guardian angel.
他说我们很快就可能会读到7个心灵圆圈，那么我们从第7个一直往上进化到第1个，那么第3个的时候是一个里程碑式的一个进展的标志，那么在那个阶段你会得到属于你一个人的智天使的保护者。
Now we'll learn that the psychic circles are something that each of us can acquire in this life, but it's not required for us to achieve all 7 in order to go on and have life eternal and to go on to the Morancha world. Though acquiring those circles can also be done on the Morancha worlds.
对，就是说完成这7个心灵圆圈，并不是你达到永久续存的必要的条件，你可以在那个宅下世界啊，用灵智体的那个阶段，慢慢的去达成。
And before you reach your 3rd psychic circle, or if you never do, either way, you still have guardian angels, but in that case, you don't have a guardian angel assigned to you personally. You have a group guardian angel, and we'll read about that too. But I think they're in, Ricky, do you remember? I think they're in groups of 12, something like that.
I'm not sure. There may be
small groups.
Yeah, there will be a paper, I think, specifically on that.
No, it's in here for sure. Yeah. No, it's easy to find, but I just thought you might.
Yeah. 就说你在没有达到第3个心灵圆圈之前呢，你还是有守护天使的，只是那个是一个一个就是群体的守护天使，不是单独分配给你的，是好多人那个共同拥有的守护天使。
We're rest assured, we are all looked after very, very closely and very carefully by many beings.
对，那我们要放心，因为我们被很多的看不见的存有在保护着，在看顾着。
But a self-acting adjuster has to have achieved obviously we achieve the psychic circles with the help of our adjusters. So it's saying here that in order for a self-acting adjuster to become a self-acting adjuster, which is a an advanced status for a thought adjuster, a very special and advanced status. They have to have lived in a human being and achieved the third circle.
那么就是自我施工的调整者是比较更高级的思想调整者。那么他就说这个地方，是说那个其中一个条件之一就是他就是说要能达到这个第三个心灵圆圈。
Okay, wrong. I'm reading number 3 now. Number 3 has a subject who has made a subject, meaning the person they inhabit, has a subject who has made the supreme decision, has entered into a solemn and sincere betrothal with the adjuster. The adjuster looks beforehand to the time and actual fusion and reckons the union as an event of fact.
3有一个已做出至高决定，已与调整者订立了庄严而真诚婚约的主体。调整者事先看到了实际融合的时间，并将结合作为一个事实的事件来考虑。
Ricky, my comments. This is so this is not saying that the subject has fused with the adjuster. It is saying that we've talked about this a lot actually already. It's saying that the person has made the supreme decision and entered into a solemn and sincere betrothal. That's what we keep talking about here in this group, that at some point you will feel, or many of you already have, and many people will never read the Urantia. This has nothing to do with the Urantia book. It happens to people all the time who believe in Jesus and God. At some point you will find that you feel compelled to do God's will, to just make that a priority in your life. And that's what they're talking about. And they're calling it the supreme decision. And that's, I don't know if that happens in conjunction with achieving a psychic circle. It probably often does, but not necessarily, since they're keeping them, number 2 and 3 separate. Reaching the third circle, they're putting as number 2, and number 3 they're putting as making the supreme decision.
他说这个第三个条件就是做出至高决定哈，与思想调整者结合，就是与神合一的这个决定。那么他说不知道是不是跟第二个有必然的联系，可能也就是说也不一定就是有必然的联系，但是肯定有一定的相关吧。就是要思想调整者就是看到了实际融合的这个非常大的，就是说这个对吧？你做出这种的至高决定，那么他就作为一个事实的事件来考虑。
And then they say in this same one, the adjuster looks beforehand to the time of actual fusion and reckons the union as an event of fact. That's really interesting, because I think my interpretation of that is that once you've made the supreme decision, it has to be a decision. It can't just happen. It's not just something you like one day notice that it has occurred by itself. You have to consciously make a decision to do God's will, and to make that the number one guide in your life for all your decisions. Is this decision aligned with God's will? But what they're saying here is that when I think, it's hard to say the way it's written, but I think what he means, the solitary messenger, is that when you do that, he then looks forward to your eventual fusion as an actual fact. He knows you're going to fuse once you make that decision. It's just he's looking forward to it. It's no longer a guess. He knows you have made that decision. You and he and this thought adjuster are going to fuse at some point.
就是说你要做出有意识的决定，想要执行神的旨意，然后呢才会调整者就是看到实际融合的时间，然后才会就是拿这个作为一个事实来考虑，就是你还没有实际上结合，但是已经做出至高决定了，那么调整者就把这个当作事实来考虑。
So it doesn't say that exactly, but that's what I think it's trying. I think that's the implication.
Yeah. Okay. 他没有 what is not indicated explicitly?
It's saying, okay, the subject has made a supreme decision, has entered into a spiritual blah, and then it just stops. Okay. So that's a requirement to be a self-acting adjuster, that your subject has to have made that supreme decision to do God's will. But then it just has a random sentence. The adjuster looks beforehand. Well, what does he mean? Beforehand, before what? Beforehand to the time of actual fusion, and reckons the union as an actual fact. So I think what it's not clear here. It's just another sentence. The adjuster looks beforehand to the time, but I think because it's coming right after the other sentence, I think it's saying that once you make that decision, the adjuster can look beforehand ahead. He now knows you're going to fuse. He reckons the union as an event of fact. He's no longer wondering if you're going to become fused with him or not. He knows after you make that decision that it's a fact that you will be fused.
Yeah, I think it's very clear. Yeah, it is quite clear.
I think I'm 99% sure too that's what it means, but just it doesn't say exactly. Yeah,
I think there is no doubt. It's kind of self-explicit, the text already.
I think so, but yeah, it doesn't say exactly that's what it means, but I think that's what it means. I think that's a good guess.
Yeah, let's go to the fourth.
Okay, but I want you to translate just in case they're wondering what we're talking about.
I already conveyed that part.
Okay. Number 4. Wait, did Ron read 3 yet?
Yeah, the number 3 is done.
Okay. Number 4. Sorry, I'm so confused. Number 4. The self-acting adjuster has a subject who has been mustered into one of the reserve corps of destiny on an evolutionary world of mortal ascension.
4. 有一个已被召集到凡人扬升进化世界上的天命储备军团之一的主体。
Ricky, my notes are that this implies what I assumed anyway, that all worlds of mortal ascension have reserved core of destiny before they're settled in light and life. Probably after you are settled after a world is settled in light and life, you probably don't need them anymore. That's my guess.
Oh, what? Why?
Well, first translate that, then I'm going to explain to them what the reserve core of destiny is, and then we can say why.
他就说那个扬升，那个凡人扬升的终点就是那个达到。No, I don't understand. Yeah, so you said No, I don't understand what is the reserve corps of destiny.
Right, that's why I'm going to explain it now. So a reserve, every planet of mortal ascension, it doesn't say this, but it is a good guess that every planet of mortal ascension has what is called the reserve corps of destiny. Our planet, Urantia, definitely has it. And what it is, okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
他就说那个每一个有凡人扬升的那个星球，它都有这个天命储备军团啊。我们的星球啊，月染虾肯定也是有的。
It's absolutely it's so fascinating that I think maybe after we finish this section on Chinese religion, we'll go to that section as like our sidebar, our sidetrack section.
他说这个是这个题目，关于这个天命储备军团是一个非常的有趣的话题。那么我们到时候读完了那个宗教哈，中国的宗教部分，有可能一边也可以读这方面的东西。
What it is a group, and I think it's a rather large. It could be 1,000 people. It could be 100. It's either, you know, it's more than 100 and probably not more than 1,000, but we'll read about that. We'll read that soon because it's a really fun thing to know about. And I'll keep I'll keep explaining, but
他说大概成百上千的人其实都是那个天命储备军团的成员。
And they're mortal beings, regular mortal beings who are being trained by celestial beings to step forward and do a specific job in a planetary emergency.
这个储备军团的人呢，就被那些的灵界存有来训练，来完成在那个星球危机当中完成一些特别的任务。
Now, we'll read this section soon to refresh my memory, but if my memory serves correctly, most of them don't know this is happening to them.
那么我们就是会读到这一部分，但是我记忆当中，这些的储备军团呢，实际上他们也不知道自己是这个的成员。
But a few of these mortals actually know that they're in the reserve corps and that they're being trained for an emergency.
那有一些人，这里边有一些人他们是知道的，知道自己被训练来应付星球的这些的应急状况下要出来做事情的。
Now it says that very often, if not most often, they never have to do the job they're trained for because the emergency doesn't happen.
那经常呢，就是他们也不一定有机会做他们被训练的事情，因为这种紧急情况也不一定发生。
But when a planetary emergency does happen, and I think, well, it doesn't really explain what kind of emergency. If it could be a physical calamity, or is it just a spiritual crisis? We don't know.
他说他也不知道这个应急这个紧急状况到底是什么，指的是什么算紧急状况？是那些的实际上大的自然灾害啊，还是什么别的星球危机？
But when such an emergency arises, these people step forward out of nowhere and perform extraordinary work.
那么当紧急情况发生的时候，这些的被训练的成员呢，就会站出来做他们被训练做的工作。
Now, the book says these people in the reserve corps of destiny are usually not famous and they're not leaders. They're just regular people.
那么这些人就是被 弄到这个天命储备军团的，往往他们也不是什么著名的人物啊，或者领袖啊，他们只是一些很普通的人。
I would guess that they probably each have a special ability, and that is why they were chosen for a specific task.
他说他是猜想每个人可能就是有他特别的能力，所以就会被分派一定的跟那个能力相应的一些的任务。
At some point, we can look back at history and try to identify planetary emergencies and try to guess, which people who came forward were in the Reserve Corps, but we'll probably never know until we get to the Marancha worlds.
他说有可能我们回看历史哈，可能会认出有一些的人大概是在这个危机时刻挺身而出来，挽救了这个行星的命运，但是呢，有可能只有去到宅下世界之后才能够认出来吧。
So all of the Reserve Corps members who don't know they're in the Reserve Corps are trained while they're sleeping.
那么 while they are sleeping, what do you mean while they are sleeping?
They're trained by celestial beings.
Oh, when they are sleeping. Oh, okay, got it.
Yes, but because they don't even know they're in the Reserve Corps, so they're trained. So they're trained in their sleep, and they don't even know about this training. But then, when the emergency happens, they know exactly what to do.
Yeah, interesting. 那么这些他们受灵界存有是训练，怎么训练？在什么时候呢？就是他们睡觉的时候。那睡觉的时候接受训练，所以他们实际上他们并不知道自己接受训练，也不知道自己是这个军团的成员，一直到这个危机发生的时候，哎，他们自然而然就知道该怎么做，该做什么啊。对，是这样的一个训练过程，很有意思。Yeah, very interesting.
Yes. So they're obviously these people, if there's an emergency and if they're called forward, would be people who together as a group change the direction of the world.
那么这些人被呼唤出来之后呢，他们就是站出来呢，他们就会改变整个世界的一个整体的方向。
I think the few people who know that they're in the Reserve Corps never ever tell another soul. That's just my guess.
对，他就说那个可能大部分人，因为如果是只是预备军团，没有受真正的应召的时候，他们根本也不知道自己是属于这个军团的。
I've certainly never met anyone who said they were in it.
他说我没有碰到哪一个人他宣称自己是这个天命军团的。
It must be a very, very high honor to be in it.
那应该是很高的荣誉，是对，如果是这个天命储备军团的一员。
So that's number 4, for a requirement. That's the 4th requirement to be a self-acting adjuster. You have to have lived in a subject who was it's mustered into one of the Reserve Corps. So there's more than one. It's called the Reserve Corps of Destiny, but it says one of the Reserve Corps. So apparently there's a lot of different Reserve Corps of Destiny under the overall umbrella of the Reserve Corps of Destiny.
那这个地方就说这个有自我施工的调整者的，那么这个第4个条件就是已经被应召到这个凡人养生进化世界的天命储备军团之一的主体。那么就是这天命储备军团它是不止一个的啊，你是属于其中一个的这个军团的当中的一个主体。
Okay, wrong. Number 5. At some time during human sleep, the self-acting adjuster at some time during human sleep has been temporarily detached from the mind of mortal incarceration to perform some exploit of liaison, contact, registration, or other extra-human service associated with the spiritual administration of the world of assignment.
五，在某个时候，在人类的睡眠中，已经暂时脱离了凡人监禁的心智，去执行一些与任务世界的灵性管理有关的联系、联络、接触、重新登记或其他非人类服务。
Okay, Ricky, I said registration, but it says re-registration.
对，他说这个是重新登记 ，re-registration。
So remember we read that the thought adjuster has to register on Uversa before coming in to indwell a human being on a mortal planet?
那你还记不记得那个思想调整者来之前，他需要在那个超级宇宙总部去来登记？
It sounds like that for some reason, sometimes an adjuster has to re-register. I don't know why that would happen, but that's what it sounds like.
那这个地方就说到重新登记，这个大概是就是这个，他说他不知道为什么要重新登记，反正这个地方他重新登记，应该是指的是这个，跟这个起初的那个登记是有关系的。
Ordinarily, an adjuster never leaves the mind of their subject, the person that they're indwelling, throughout their whole life. So these are rare exceptions that an adjuster has to leave to perform some task, but they do it while the person is asleep.
一般情况下，调整在终其这个人格的一生是不离开这个凡人的。那么他暂时离开呢，就是在这个人睡眠的时候才会离开，然后做一些这类工作。
Okay, wrong. Number 6.
我来说一下。OK, I have to translation a little bit problem.
Okay.
非人类服务是不对的，这个翻译当时我校对没有看见。Extra human service 应该是其他的人类的服务，而不是非人类服务。这个翻译有点问题，注意一下。Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Ricky, everyone, I don't know what extra human service associated with the spiritual administration of the world a thought adjuster would have to leave you to work with. I mean, we could guess, but I don't really know what kind of task that would be or why a particular thought adjuster would be needed to do it. Maybe because that thought adjuster has particular experience in a previous life dealing with a similar situation. So there's some kind of special crisis or something happens on the world and they go, hey, we need you to help. And so they wait till you fall asleep and then they go and they help and then they come back before you wake up.
那就猜有可能这些思想调整他一些前些世积攒的一些经验呢，有可能在灵界会提供一些服务，那么在你睡觉的时候用不着他的时候，他大概就去做一些那种灵界的一些的服务。
That's the only thing I can guess why they would why a particular thought adjuster would be asked to help with I mean, there's so many superhuman personalities and celestial beings on this planet, the angelic cores, the rulers, there's so many people organizing and managing this planet that I'm just wondering why they would need one particular thought adjuster who is in a person to help with something, but that could be why.
他就说已经有很多的灵界的存有来服务于这个星球，他也不了解为什么有一些思想调整者也会来参与这样的工作。那么现在来讲呢，他们是被应召要去帮一下忙的。
Or maybe that particular important crisis or problem is something that would personally affect their subject or their subject's family, and that's why they're asked to help.
那么也许他处理的是跟这个人有关的一些的危机啊、问题啊什么的，就是在他的家庭啊，就是他周边的人际关系啊当中的，他要去做一些这种的协调的联络的工作。
Okay, wrong. Number 6. A self-acting adjuster has served in a time of crisis in the experience of some human being who was the material complement of a spirit personality entrusted with the enactment of some cosmic achievement essential to the spiritual economy of the planet.
6. 曾在危机时期在某个人的经验中服务过，这个人是一个属灵人格的物质补充，负责完成一些对地球灵性体系至关重要的宇宙使命。
Ricky, this is interesting because number 3, number 4, someone is in the reserve corps. Number 5, the thought adjuster has left a human to do some special task. And number 6, the human has been involved in a special task essential to the spiritual economy of the planet. So number 4, 5, and 6 all have to do with having to perform some special service essential to the spiritual development of the planet.
Well, you mean, yeah, so all this through 3 through 6 are something
No, 4,
common.
4, 5, and 6.
4, 5 and 6, 4、5、6哈，4、5、6这些的情景几乎都有这个，就是在行星上完成一些的重要的工作和使命的服务，都有这种意味。
So the fourth one is the person is in the reserve corps of destiny. So the person may not know it, may not even work, but they're being trained to help in a crisis.
第4个是说，在这个危机的时候要被应召出来的天命储备军团。
Number 5, the thought adjuster leaves the human to help in a crisis.
然后第5个呢是说这个思想调整呢离开这个凡人的心智，然后去帮助其他的服务，参与其他的服务。
Not necessarily a crisis, but a service associated with the spiritual administration of the planet.
对，不一定是危机，但是就是服务他人的灵性管理方面的工作。
And number 6, the person serves as the human material complement of a spirit personality. So in this case, the human who's not in the reserve corps is working with their thought adjuster as the human personality to help assist in achievement essential to the spiritual. And I would call this a planet because it's enactment of some cosmic achievement essential to the spiritual economy of the planet. So what this number 6 is saying is that there's three types of help between you and your thought adjuster. There's 3 types of help that you can do in a spiritual, a very urgent or important spiritual time on a planet that needs where assistance is needed. So you can be in the reserve corps. Your thought adjuster can leave you and go and help out, or you and your thought adjuster. It's the material complement of a spirit person, not necessarily you and your thought adjuster, but a spirit personality. So it could be your guardian angel, or it could be a Melchizedek, like Abraham when he worked with man. Some spiritual entity you as a person are cooperating with. You, whether you know it or not, it may not be conscious. You may not be aware that you're doing this, but you are, for one reason or another, you are working in liaison with a spiritual entity in, let's just call it a planetary emergency.
The sixth one, the last one, means you kind of assisting other celestial beings' mission as a human being. Is that what the mission is?
That's what I'm saying, but it's a little different than assisting, because it says you are the material complement of a spirit personality. So you may not know, it doesn't say that you are consciously assisting. It's more like you are it's like, it sounds to me like a material presence is needed in that crisis, right? Right. They need a human to do something also. So you, whether they're training you, whether they're communicating with you consciously or unconsciously, you are being directed to assist. Now, assist, yes, but you're the human complement. In other words, the deed is happening on 2 levels, on a spiritual level and a physical level. Both are required in this emergency. This is how I interpret it.
Yeah. 那就是这个你还可以做哪些呢？在一些宇宙使命当中呢，就是一些灵界的人格啊，像天使啊，或者麦基洗德的成员呢，他们在执行这个行星的使命的时候，需要一个跟他们相应的一个物质层面的一个协助啊，一种彰显啊，一种陪伴啊。那你可以就是在这方面起作用啊，发挥你的作用，然后合作来完成对地球灵性体系至关重要的宇宙使命。
This reminds me of an experience that a near-death experience guy who had a phenomenal, amazing near-death experience where he was actually caught up swirling in a tornado. This guy later had other spiritual experiences, and one of them may have been the kind of thing they're talking about here, and I'll tell you what happened to him.
那么他就是联想起有一个人，他有这个濒死体验的人，他被卷入这个就是龙卷风。
He went to a church one day, and he looked up and he saw a man walking down the aisle, and he saw that the man was flanked by 2 huge guardian angels, one on each side of him, and they were warrior angels. And he just saw that this man had 2 warrior angels, one on each side of him, as he walked, a man he had never seen before.
这是有一天他在教会看到有一个人，他就是有2个武士天使护卫这个人。
So after the church service, he went up to this man and he said, you know, this is going to sound really strange. I'm sorry to bother you, and this is going to sound very strange, but I thought I should tell you that I saw two warrior angels, one of the huge, beautiful warrior angels protecting you when you walked down the aisle before.
对那个人说，就是我可能跟你说的话有点奇怪，但是呢，你不要因此被受打扰。我就看到两个美丽的武士天使，在护卫在你两边。
This man started crying, and he told him that he had decided he was going to kill himself that very day.
这个人马上就哭了，他就说，他就承认，他说那天实际上他就是想自杀来着。
And because of this experience, because the other man saw his warrior angels protecting him, he decided not to kill himself.
对，因为他听到有人告诉他，他有护卫天使，那么他就决定不自杀了。
So this could be an example of where you have a human representative working with a spiritual entity to affect some, because maybe this guy, the guy whose life he saved, maybe he was instrumental in a spiritual crisis of the planet. It's possible.
对啊，这个人他就是说被这样解救，有可能这个人他就是到时候在行星危机当中会起关键作用的这么一个人，他的使命还没完成呢，他大概就不能让他就归空了。
Because
yeah, of course, he hasn't completed his mission yet. How can he surrender and go back to celestial?
Yeah, but he must have an important mission. It could be that he was going to be the father of an important person on the planet. It could be that he's going to influence someone else. You never know.
那个就是海里也承认，我就说他还没完成任务呢，怎么能让他走？对呀，他说有可能这个人他就肩负一些的任务职责，或者是他可能会是一个肩负职责的一个未来那个人的父亲，对吧？他就是他根本就不该他走的时候，所以要保护他不要自杀嘛，对。Yeah, makes sense.
Yes, because the roles we play we never know the meaning and the importance of every little thing we do, or maybe no meaning. Maybe the thing we think is so important and will affect all these people has no effect whatsoever. And one little word we say to a stranger could change the course of history.
对，他说我们往往不了解我们生命的意义啊，存在的价值啊，那么有可能你对一个人的一个微笑啊，或者怎么着就能改变这个世界，你都不知道的。你认为可能没有大意义，有可能有很大的意义。
One of my very favorite stories in the Bible, not in the Bible, in the life of Jesus, is about a guy named Stephen.
那我就是比较喜欢的圣经故事啊，有一个人物叫史蒂夫。
Before Jesus officially started preaching, when he was off traveling by himself, and the Bible doesn't know where he was during this period, but the Urantia book tells us.
大概是约翰夏之书提供了更多关于这个人的一些的背景。
During this, they call it the missing years in the Bible, but he was just off. Jesus was traveling around he was planting the seeds far and wide for well, not that far and that wide, but in that whole general Mediterranean area, he was planting the seeds he was meeting with many people and many spiritual leaders, and he was planting the seed so that later when his message came, it would be better understood and better received.
他又讲到是耶稣就是圣经里边耶稣有几年的经历没有写，不知道，然后书里边都有补充，然后他就在地中海那附近旅游，然后那个跟很多人的去会面啊认识啊打基础啊就播种子，然后他后来传道的话再回来就是接受度就比较高。
It is the same job that Melchizedek did 2,000 years before.
这也是麦基洗德使团来到地面上的这个他的目的，也是属于播撒种子的。
Before a spiritual truth and a new religion can be propagated across a planet, there has to be a period when the seeds are sown, when the earth is made ready for the seeds to be planted.
那么这新的福音来传遍星球之前呢，需要有人来准备土壤播种子。
And we are in that period now with the Urantia book. It's not time for this to be a world religion, but we are just starting to prepare the soil.
那么这就是我们正在做的工作。那么现在日耳夏之书还没有成熟成为一个世界性的宗教，但是我们正在播撒这个种子，准备土壤。
This is what the Urantia Foundation was told to do, but I don't think they quite understood their directions.
Heidi, we agreed to stop criticizing.
Okay,
Yeah.
delete that. Don't translate that.
No, I won't.
Okay, but this is the period we are in now.
对，现在我们就是播种、准备土壤的时期。
And the publication mandate made that very clear.
那就是出版那篇关于出版的指导的文章说得很清楚。
Which we read in a previous session in this group.
对，我们以前曾经仔细的读过那篇文章。
So when Jesus was out talking to many people and many religious teachers before he went on his preaching tour, before he officially became a religious teacher, when he was traveling and meeting all these people and religious leaders and talking with them, he met a guy named Stephen, and he had either one profound conversation or a series of conversations that really affected Stephen deeply.
我说在一次捕鱼的行程当中遇到了史蒂夫，就是跟他有一个很深入的畅谈，那么深入的非常深刻的震撼了这个史蒂夫这个人。
Years later, after Jesus was crucified, Stephen had been so moved by the message of Jesus Christ that he heard from the apostles that he became the first martyr of Jesus's religion. He was preaching on the streets in Jerusalem, and they stoned him to death. He was the first martyr.
当就是那个耶稣被钉十字架之后，他被耶稣的福音信息所深深的打动，就是在耶路撒冷的街上传播福音，然后被人用石头活活打死。
He was preaching the word of this Messiah from Nazareth that he had heard about.
他就是传播这个弥赛亚的福音。
And he had no idea that he had actually met Jesus himself. He was the same man who had talked to him years ago and influenced him so deeply. He never knew that.
You mean he met it before he met Jesus even before Jesus began his spiritual teaching, right?
Yes, during the the Bible calls them the missing years because they don't know where Jesus was. The Urantia book tells us he was traveling around.
He met Jesus, but later when Jesus taught him, he didn't realize that they met before.
He never met him again. He never met him again. He heard about his teachings from the apostles and disciples, and he became a believer. He never actually met him.
But he should have realized that he met Jesus.
How could he have known? There was no internet. There was no newspaper. How could he have known it was the same person?
就是说，这个人他曾经遇到过耶稣，但是就是耶稣后来传播福音嘛，他听到耶稣传的福音，就是成为一个信徒，就非常相信耶稣传播的，他都没有再见过他。Yeah.
So some random guy that Jesus spoke to years before ends up being the first martyr of Christianity and never knew that he had actually met the Messiah that he was willing to die for. He never knew it was the same guy. I'm going to go turn on my air conditioner.
Yeah. Okay. 他就说这些人他们曾经遇到过耶稣，但是他们后来听到福音就相信了，他们也没有，其实也不知道他们实际上曾经跟耶稣见过面。这些人呢，确实就是最接受他的福音，并且你看，这个史蒂夫还成为第一个殉道者。
I absolutely love that story.
我非常的喜欢这个故事。
Because it shows how something you say to someone can change their life. It can change the world. It can change history. Just a conversation.
那就是证明，就是你跟一个人说的话，那有可能有非常的有力量，能够改变这个人，也改变这个世界。
Okay, now, wrong. I'm going to read one paragraph at a time. Okay. Self-acting adjusters seem to possess a marked degree of will in all matters not involving the human personalities of their immediate indwelling, as indicated by their numerous exploits, both within and without the mortal subjects of attachment. Such adjusters participate in numerous activities of the realm, but more frequently they function as undetected indwellers of the earthly tabernacles of their own choosing.
自我形式的调整者似乎在所有不涉及其直接居住的人类人格的事情上，都拥有明显的意志力，正如他们在其依附的凡人主体内部和外部的无数探索所表明的那样。这样的调整者参与了领域的许多活动，但他们更经常作为其自己选择的城市躯壳中未被察觉的居住者而运作。Thank you.
Okay. So we're reading about self-acting adjusters. But there's also another type of adjuster called a personalized adjuster that we will read about in a few pages further down down the road.
他就说在上面哪一个章节可能还提到人格化的调整者啊，这个地方是讲的是自我形式的调整者。
So self-acting adjusters, it says participate in numerous activities of the realm, but more frequently they function as undetected indwellers of the earthly tabernacles of their choosing. That means that that self-acting adjusters are not always working inside a human being. That's what it sounds like to me, because it says more frequently they function as undetected indwellers of the earthly tabernacles of their choosing. Or it could mean that they're always indwelling someone, but sometimes they're more known for the work they're doing outside that person, and sometimes they're just functioning as an undetected. But I think it means the first thing. I think it just means that sometimes that they're not always working in indwelling a human, because it seems that, okay, self-acting adjusters seem to possess a marked degree of will in all matters not involving human personalities of their immediate indwelling, as indicated by their numerous exploits, both within and without the mortal subjects of attachment. So self-acting adjusters are not always indwelling a mortal being. But they're always seem to be involved in numerous exploits within and without. So it says, what it's saying here is that if self-acting adjuster is not just working with you, they're doing other things outside of you that are as well.
他这一段大概就是说就是这个自我形式的调整者啊，也可以借这个凡人主体行动探索，也可以不借这个行动探索。他这两种的探索，这两种的行动都存在。
So it says such adjusters, right? Such adjusters that are involved with other activities outside of you as well, that participate in numerous activities of the realm, but more frequently they function as, I read that differently. I was thinking, now I'm reading it to mean they do all these things, but most of the time they're just working inside you, quietly working away like any old thought adjuster.
他说大概跟最后那句是，就是说他们还是作为你的驻居者而运作，但是呢不被觉察。
Okay, wrong. Second paragraph. Undoubtedly, these higher and more experienced type of adjusters can communicate with those in other realms. But while self-acting adjusters do thus intercommunicate, they do so only on the levels of their mutual work and for the purpose of preserving custodial data essential to the adjuster ministry of the realms of their sojourn, though on occasions they have been known to function in interplanetary matters during times of crisis.
容没开麦吧？
对，没开麦。毫无疑问，这些更高级、更有经验的调整者可以与其他领域的人沟通。但是，虽然自我形式的调整者确实因此而相互沟通，但他们只是在其共同工作的层面上这样做，并且是为了保存对他们所居住领域的调整者侍奉至关重要的保管数据。 尽管众所周知，他们有时在危机时期的星际与事物中发挥作用。
So, so it says these higher and more experienced type of adjusters can communicate with those in other realms. But we know from what we've read that all adjusters can communicate with well, actually, okay, it says can communicate with those in other realms. We don't know who those are. We know that adjusters can communicate with all other adjusters anywhere in the universe, but maybe these self-acting adjusters communicate with other beings in other realms as well.
对，他就说这个自我行为调整者之间，他们能够相互沟通。
But they say, but it says that while they do intercommunicate with other beings on other realms, they only do this when it has to do with the mutual work, when those other beings are working also on a project that has to do with the realms of their sojourn. So that would mean with the planet, with the system, like if it was my adjuster, it would be in the system of Satania or the planet of Urantia, the realm of their sojourn, where we are now. So they would basically be coordinating with another being on something that had to do with this realm.
那么跟其他的灵界存有之间，也就是说也有沟通，但是就是在共同的事物上，才会有沟通。所以那个地方与其他领域的人沟通，这个人也不是太正确的翻译，不一定是人呢。那并且他不是人呢，应该是其他领域的存有，灵性存有吧。Those.
But once in a while, they have been known to function in interplanetary matters. So when we say the realms of their sojourn, I said the system of Satania, but no, they meant the planet of they meant the realm of a sojourn, meaning something to do with Urantia, because here it says, though on occasion they have been known to function in interplanetary matters during times of crisis. So that means that by the realm of sojourn, they meant planetary, because once in a while they also help out with some interplanetary crisis. But this would be like what we were talking about before, when why did this self-acting adjuster may have specific experience that makes him valuable to help out in a certain type of crisis, because that's why I would guess that they would call on him when there's so many other celestial beings around to help out, but he probably has some valuable experience.
对，那个这个地方是 interplanetary matters，就是行星之间的事物啊。他就说有可能就是萨丹尼亚，就是地方宇宙这个领域，这个 realm 指的是这个领域。他在就是危机时刻呢，那么这些的这些自我行事的事工，他们就是这些调整者就起到一定的作用，关联呢，保管数据啊这些的工作当中会发挥作用。
Okay, wrong. The last paragraph.
No, but I have a question.
Sure.
Preserving custodial data essential to the adjuster ministry of the realm.
Yeah. Okay. Here. Yep. But self-acting adjusters do communicate but while self-actors do thus intercommunicate, they do so only on the levels of their mutual work and for the purpose of preserving custodial. I know that was interesting. Custodial data essential to the adjuster ministry of the realms. Preserving custodial data. Custodial. Well, custodial is like maintenance. It's like taking care of things, and data is data. So they're preserving, the universe is very good at preserving data. They want
Akashic records.
Akashic records, we call them. Yeah. And everything nothing is lost. Nothing. So I suppose these adjusters might know certain information that needs to be preserved, right? And that they may when they're preserving certain types of information, these adjusters are called to help out because they're recipients of this data. They actually, maybe it has to do with a life they led or something they're very, very knowledgeable about.
他们那就相当于他们要保管，他们要写很好的日记啊，很好的they have to write a good journal, good diary, record every work they work with the subjects, something like that, right?
Well, it might not even have anything to do with the subject.
I thought, there is guardian angels who are also responsible to preserving such records.
Yes, I know. I think, but this is talking about, I really think this is Ministry of the Realms, though do communicate with it, but while only on levels of mutual purpose of preserving custodial data essential to the adjuster. See, this data is essential to the adjuster Ministry of the Realms. So it's specific data that's essential to adjuster ministry. So it might be a little bit different kind of data. Because, the adjusters, it says adjuster Ministry of the Realm. So adjusters are, they're ministering to us individually, but maybe there's also a type of group adjuster coordination on Urantia of, that has to do with the ministry of the whole planet. Maybe all of our adjusters are kind of coordinating in some way. I think that's possible.
Yeah. 那我就提出来，是不是有护卫天使也专门记录这个人格他的所有的发生的事啊，然后他就说是啊，也是这样子的，但是这个像调整者他就是要在保管关于跟调整者侍奉有关的数据方面，他也是要负责任的，这样的一个解释。Okay.
The other thing, Ricky, is that angels are observing us, and I think that they can psychically communicate to an extent, but adjusters live inside our mind. So they hear every thought we have in our entire life, and they experience it from within. So that gives them a certain type of insight, at least into individual people that no other being can ever have.
那就是说那不同天使呢在外面观察，然后呢思想调整在我们里边，他了解我们每一个想法，就是那个大概观察角度不同吧，也做的记录大概有所偏重。Yeah, that's they kind make records from different angles.
Yeah. Now, here's an example. I'm just guessing. Like your guardian angel may see you struggling, and may see you praying, and may see you trying to make a supreme decision, and then may be aware of the decision you made. Let's just say, I'm just guessing, but the adjuster is going through that whole process with you, hearing your arguments on each side and participating, helping you to make the right decision. Here, is hearing all of your thoughts and experiencing that with you.
那么他就说，比如说他就想象的哈，就是天使呢，就是只看到我们这一些事情上的一种挣扎，但是呢像调整者在里边，他实际上是听到我们的每一方 这几种意见之间的这种的争论，然后呢帮助我们做出该做的决定，那不太一样。Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, okay. So, we have one little sentence left wrong. I'm going to read the last paragraph. It's one sentence. The superacting adjusters.
No, I don't think you read.
The supreme and self-acting have
Yeah.
the human. Yeah. Okay. Supreme and self-acting adjust. Sorry. The second. I'll read the last two paragraphs.
This too.
The supreme and self-acting adjusters can leave the human body at will. The indwellers are not an organic or biological part of mortal life. They are divine superimpositions thereon. In the original life plans, they were provided for, but they are not indispensable to material existence. Nevertheless, it should be recorded that they very rarely, even temporarily, leave their mortal tabernacles after they once take up their indwelling. The superacting adjusters are those who have achieved the conquest of their entrusted tasks and only await the dissolution of the material life vehicle or the translation of the immortal soul.
Romy 开麦。
至高类和自我行业类调整者可以随意离开人体。内住者不是凡人生命的一个有机或生物部分，他们是其上的神圣叠加物，他们是在原初的生命计划中规定的，但他们并不是物质存在所不可或缺的。然而，应当注意的是，在他们一旦内住之后，他们就很少离开其凡人躯壳，即使是暂时的。
这下一段也读了。
超级形式的调整者是那些已经完成委托任务，只等待着生命物质载体的解体或不朽灵魂的转化。Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So, the superacting, so I was wondering, so there's self-acting adjusters and there's superacting adjusters. And the superacting adjusters are like super self-acting adjusters. So they are the ones, it says in the last sentence, they are the ones who have achieved the conquest of their tasks and only await your transition to the Marancha world. That's what they're saying. The translation of the immortal soul. So you've achieved your, you've achieved your third circle, maybe your first circle, probably your first circle, but at least your third circle, and you have made the supreme decision to do God's will, and they've done everything else they're supposed to do, any other tasks that that they were required to do, and everything is like on track, and they know you're going to fuse with them. It's a done deal. They're just waiting for that. They're just looking forward to that time when you can fuse on the Marancha world and become one supernatural, miraculous partnership.
Are you talking about the last paragraph?
Yeah, the superacting adjusters. They're the ones, that's what they're saying. They're saying that they're still your thought adjuster, and they're still a self-acting adjuster, but they have seen you through the major milestones that it was their job to get you through. They wanted you to reach your third circle your third psychic circle and get your own guardian angel. They wanted you to make the supreme decision to do God's will. They maybe have other tasks that they had to do. Also, I think self-acting adjusters, it says they do other things outside of us as well. They've done everything. They've done everything they were required to do, and they've succeeded. That makes them a super acting adjuster. All they have to do now is wait for us to go to the next world and fuse with them.
然后就是最后一段的那超级形式的，那就是超级的自我形式的思想调整者，那就相当于已经完成任务了。他们在这一生跟你合作的项目都已经完成了，就等着那个你的转到这个灵智身体，然后对，到下一个世界了，那你有下一个世界的任务。OK。
I believe that I strongly believe that once you're at that level, once you have a self-acting adjuster, once you've made the supreme decision, once you've achieved your third psychic circle, maybe your first, I believe you can in some ways start thinking with your soul and acting with your soul here on earth. You can in some ways start living your Morancha life right here. That's what I believe.
你说当我们做出了至高的决定，跟那个思想调整者融合，然后达到了第三个心灵圆圈，其实就可以在这个物质世界活出灵智界的那个实质。
They call Morancha thinking, they call it, we call mortal thinking, we call thought, ideas and thoughts. Morancha thinking they call mota.
那个我们这个肉身的时候，我们的就是思想叫做 thought， 但是如果是在灵智界呢，那个叫 morta， 那个就不叫 thought 了，叫 morta， 不叫想法了，那个叫 morta， 就有点像那个什么灵魂的想法一样的那个概念。
It's like on this planet we have human brains and we think a certain way, and on the Morancha worlds we think with our souls. Our souls are like our brains. We think with these souls that were created by our thought adjuster and our mind working together. So they're more than a mind. They're half God, half mind, half human, half God. A created mind that was created by a God working with a human. So they're like divine human minds, and they're superior to human minds.
对，就是相当于它是那个你的思维跟那个神的一个结合，是神圣的人类心智，就是灵魂，你这个想法是很神圣的，跟灵魂跟神结合了的那么一个思想。
In one place in the book, it gives us a list of human thoughts and a list right next to them of mota thoughts, and it compares the difference in how a human would think of something and how a Morancha mind would think of it using the soul.
他说在哪个地方大概有一个对应的表格，就是人类用头脑心智怎么想的，想那个想法对应的这个 mortal 就是灵魂的想法，那个大概不大一样，感觉不大一样。
And that's very enlightening, because what we see is that they are like it's like the highest human religion and philosophy. It's like human thinking without animal fear, without doubt, without irrationality, without bias. It's like the highest, purest type of human thinking.
听着就是看着那个表也是很受启示，就是说那个最高的人类哲学，那么就是这人类的思想去掉了那些的 恐惧啊、疑虑啊、焦虑啊、忧愁啊，然后这个状态。
And I believe there's a whole realm of reality right here on earth that exists on the Maranja plane on the soul level.
他认为在这个地球的领域，这个地球这个层次应该也存在一个这样的一个界域，就是实际上有一些人是活在这个灵魂的层面。
So when you look at certain types of a certain quality of dance, or a certain quality of, when you hear a certain quality of music, or when you see a certain quality of art, or hear a certain quality of speaking, you get the chills down your spine. You feel your vibration actually resonates on a higher frequency because you've crossed into the Maranja realm, and you're being reached on your soul. It's touching your soul directly. You're relating to this thing you're hearing or seeing with your soul.
他说当你看一些的舞蹈啊，听一些的音乐啊，一些的艺术作品啊，或者听有一些演讲啊，你就身上会起鸡皮疙瘩，然后特别的跟它产生共鸣，那么就是那些东西就有可能是来自那个来自就是灵智界的那个，是直接的那个能够跟你的灵魂来沟通的。
And the Urantia book says that we here on Urantia, we have not progressed very far in the arts. We're very, very backwards and primitive when it comes to the arts. Nonetheless, there have, and now I'm adding this part, I'm saying, nonetheless, there have been some brilliant artists. I'm adding that part myself.
虽然说他就是说在说他的意见，他说虽然那个我们地球上的那个艺术还是非常的原始的，但是还是有一些非常的那个聪慧的艺术家。
It says that it's very funny. It says the one thing that Urantians have done very well with, in spite of the revolution, the Lucifer rebellion, and being cut off and being backwards and everything going wrong, is we have developed a very keen sense of humor here. They're very impressed with our humor.
他就说这个月亮下之书上面说，虽然我们月亮下经历了这么多的苦难，从路西弗的叛变啊，被隔离呀，但是我们月亮下人呢，确实有非常的强的幽默感。
And in the Maranja worlds, there are reversion core. There are cores of artists and musicians and dancers and performers and comedians, entertainers, and the humorous Urantia is always represented strongly in the humor among the comedians on high, because we are known throughout the definitely throughout the local system, maybe even throughout the local universe, but we are known for being very funny.
所以说在那个宅下世界呢，有一个这个像我那个就是团体，就是有个专门就是管艺术的，什么舞蹈啊、艺术表演啊这一类的。那么就是我们大概有一部分是月亮下人在里边起一定的作用，扮演那种喜剧的角色。那么我们的幽默感大概在当地系统啊、当地宇宙大概都比较有名的。
So the last thing I'll say, and then we'll move to section 3, is that the adjusters, they can leave your body anytime they want, but they very rarely leave.
他说任何时间他可以离开人体宿主，但是呢，他并不是真正的离开。
Okay. Section 3.
No, I don't think we have time to do section 3. Are we going to read the religion?
Yeah, we'll move right to the religion then.
Yeah, if we do religion, we are not going to have time to do 3 then.
Okay.
Buddhist. We
Yeah.
invited Buddhist.
Yep, I'm going there. The spread of the Buddhist faith, or the spread of Buddhism. The Buddhist faith. Yeah, the Buddhist faith, I think.
Buddhist faith.
Yeah. Number 8.
7. 8. Okay.
Don't you agree? That's where we are?
Yeah, Buddhist
Yeah.
faith.
Yeah. Okay.
佛教信仰，我们读第8部分，就是把94篇的第8部分。
Is Ron going to keep reading? Ron, you're going to keep reading?
荣，你还能读吗？
Yes, I'm okay.
Okay. And number 8, the Buddhist faith. Oh, we're back. But just so everyone knows, we've just skipped back to paper 104, the Melchizedek teachings in the
No,
Orient.
94.
94, paper 94, sorry. The Melchizedek teachings in the Orient.
Yeah,
And
I already
we're on.
told
Okay,
people.
Okay. And Ricky, just say number 8, the Buddhist faith.
Yeah, I told them too.
Okay, Ron, here I go. To become a
你读
Buddhist.
一会儿哈，Ron, I'll have Ron read for a while, and then I'm going out and come back later.
Okay. Ron, I'm going to start. To become a Buddhist, one merely made public profession of the faith by reciting the refuge. I take my refuge in the Buddha. I take my refuge in the doctrine. I take my refuge in the brotherhood. Buddhism took origin in a historic person, not in a myth. Gautama's followers called him Sasta, meaning master or teacher. While he made no superhuman claims for either himself or his teachings, his disciples early began to call him the Enlightened One, the Buddha, later on Sakyamuni Buddha. Ron, you can read that.
OK， 要成为佛教徒，只需通过诵读皈依经，公开表明自己的信仰。我皈依佛陀，我皈依教义，我皈依兄弟。佛教起源于一个历史佛教起源于一个历史人物。哦，好啦。
Yeah, I read the first 2 paragraphs.
Yeah, the sharing is gone.
Oh,
I cannot see it.
Okay. I guess it looks like this is our first time using VOOV together, right? So it looks like unless you keep clicking on it, it's hard to keep the screen. So next time what we'll do is we'll before the meeting we can give, if someone else wants to read, we can give them a copy. So if you know what I mean.
Actually, I'm checking on it. We are number 8, right?
又没了 ，sorry。
没关系，我在找那个文档。
它这个离开一会儿，它自动的就黑屏了，我一直没有调，不知道怎么调呢。好了，
这个翻译跟我现在手上有的这个档案的翻译是不一样的哦。
没关系，你读哪个都行。
都行吗？好，那我就从第2段开始。佛教源于一个历史人物，而非一个神话。乔达摩的追随者们称他为天人师，意为师父或导师。 尽管他未对自己或其教导做出任何超人性的声称，但他的弟子们很早便开始称他为觉悟者及佛陀，后来称为释迦牟尼佛。
Okay, Ron, you can keep reading. I'll be right back. You can start reading. The original Gospel of Gautama was based on the Four Noble Truths. You can just keep reading. I'll be right back.
Okay,
Thanks.
you're welcome. 那我就继续接着念了。
继续读吧。
那我念你 share 的版本，还是我念我手上的版本？
都差不多一样的，没啥太大区别。
我照着你的念，大家都看的一样。乔达摩最初的福音是以四圣谛为基础的，苦难的崇高真理，苦难的起源，苦难的毁灭，毁灭痛苦之道。与苦难和摆脱苦难的学说密切相关的是八正道哲学。正确的观点、愿望、言语、行为、生活、努力、正念和正思。正念、正思维、正语、正业、正命、正精进、正念、正定。乔达摩并不打算在摆脱痛苦的过程中摧毁所有的努力、欲望和感情。相反，他的教导旨在向凡人描绘将所有希望和愿望完全寄托在暂时的目标和物质目的的寄托在暂时的目标和物质目的上是徒劳无益的。真正的信徒不应该回避对他人的爱，而应该超越这物质世界的联系，着眼于永恒未来的实相。乔达摩传道的道德戒律共有5条：1. 不杀生； 2. 不偷盗； 3. 不淫邪； 4. 不妄语； 5. 不饮酒。还有几条附加或次要的戒律，信徒可以选择是否遵守。继续念吗？
他没回来吧？没回来就继续念。
好，释迦牟尼几乎不相信人格的不朽，他的哲学只提供了一种功能上的连续性。他从未明确定义过涅槃学说的内涵。从理论上讲，在凡人生存期间可以体验到涅槃这一事实表明，涅槃并不被视为一种完全毁灭的状态，它意味着一种至高无上的觉悟和极乐的境界。在这种境界中，束缚人与物质世界的一切枷锁都被打破了，人摆脱了凡人生活的欲望，摆脱了再次经历化身的一切为一切。
Okay, I'm back, so you know. How far did you get?
We are in the 94 8.16 103618.
Okay,
We
did you read
went
that?
through that experiencing incarnation. So after the moral commandments of Gautama's preachments, and then we go through the next 2 paragraphs until ever again experiencing incarnation.
So you read Siddhartha hardly believed in the immortality. You read that paragraph?
Yeah, read that paragraph already.
And then the next one, you didn't read the next one according to
No.
the original. Okay, so I'm going to quickly read up to where you are. The original Gospel of Gautama was based on the 4 noble truths. The noble truths of suffering, number 1. Number 2, the origins of suffering. Number 3, the destruction of suffering. Number 4, the way to the destruction of suffering. So a lot about suffering. Closely linked to the doctrine of suffering and the escape therefrom was the philosophy of the Eightfold Path. Right views, aspirations, speech, conduct, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, and contemplation. It was not Gautama's intention to attempt to destroy all effort, desire, and affection in the escape from suffering. Rather was his teaching designed to picture to mortal man the futility of pinning all hope and aspirations entirely on temporal goals and material objectives. It was not so much that love of one's fellows should be shunned as that the true believer should also look beyond the associations of the material world to the realities of the eternal future. Ricky, do these things ring? Are you guys aware of the Eightfold Path and the doctrine of suffering and all that?
Right. Yeah.
You are? It's still to this day?
Yes.
Okay. And you can see what they're saying is that people misinterpreted. It's like they threw out the baby with the bathwater.
Who threw out the baby with the bathwater?
It's like in this section 94.8.8, they're saying it was not his intention to destroy all effort, desire, and affection to escape from suffering. Rather he was trying to show the futility of totally focusing on these temporal goals. And but so when they say it was not his intention to destroy all, they're saying that his followers
exactly. Yeah, I got the point. So the believers actually distorted his teaching. They tried to get rid of all connection and attachments they have in
they
human relationship.
misinterpreted.
But actually, the Buddha did not see that. He did not want to destroy all the efforts and desire and affection, right?
Yes, he was not.
Got it.
That's what I mean. They threw out the baby with the bathwater. So yeah.
那个什么，那个海蒂就说他这个地方问我们有没有意识到这个四正谛八正道啊？对，那并且就是说一般的信徒他的扭曲在哪里呢？就是他相当于把那洗澡水跟跟孩子都一块扔掉了。本来乔达摩并没有说是否定我们所有的就是在世间的努力啊、欲望和感情，只是让我们超越那些暂时的目标和物质目的。而有那些的非常虔诚的信徒却否定人间的一切的那些的关系啊、爱啊，却就是有一点，那弃绝的很彻底的话，那么就有点就是孩子跟洗澡水就一块扔了，是不对的。OK。
Yeah, so you didn't you tell me that in Chinese you have the same expression, threw out the baby with the bathwater?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you know what I mean. Yeah. It's a great expression. And so they went it's just the people of the East did just what the people of the West, they take an idea and then they get a little bit too crazy with it and they misinterpret it and then they go off on a tangent.
Yeah. To go to an extreme, we should go to follow the middle way, not that.
It's like people are naturally, the Urantia book tells us that people are naturally very imaginative, which is why they love fairy tales.
那个人一般都是富有想象力的，所以他们喜欢童话。
And why we love stories. We love movies. Movies are just stories.
对，我们喜欢看电影，因为电影告诉故事。
The very oldest form of entertainment, thousands of years ago, there were professional storytellers who would go from tribe to tribe and he would just tell stories and the people would listen to the stories.
那过去有一些很专业的讲故事的人，他从一个地方到另外一个地方讲故事给人听。
Unfortunately, our wonderful imaginations, we tend not to know when to use them and when not to use them.
我们往往不能够确定什么时候该用，什么时候不该用我们的想象力。
So we like to embellish. It's like the natural tendency to exaggerate. Almost everyone exaggerates. Most people exaggerate.
我们有一个自然的趋向，就是夸张夸大。
It's just a natural tendency to sort of add a little something, put your spin on it, embellish. It's what we do. But when it comes to revelations and truth, we should try harder not to use our imagination, to just leave it as it is.
我们讲故事的时候喜欢添油加醋，但是呢，我们传播真理的时候，我们要尽量争取不要去添油加醋来扭曲，朴素的教导。
So that's too bad that that Buddha was so misinterpreted, but so was Jesus. So you can at least feel good to know that he wasn't the only one.
那不光佛陀的教导被扭曲了，这当然耶稣的教导也被扭曲了，佛陀也不是唯一的一位。
So then they have he was very concerned with suffering, which I think is good, because I mean, especially in the olden days when life was even harder than it is now, people needed to know that there could be relief from suffering.
Relief from the suffering.
Yeah, that was his focus, the Four Noble Truths. They're all about suffering. The truths, the origins, the destruction, the way of the destruction of suffering.
You mean that in the ancient time, people are more eager to release from the suffering?
No, I mean that even though we still desperately need the same message today, in olden times, life was even harder than it is for us now. Physically, not spiritually, but physically.
对，就是当然在古代的时候，因为生活条件比较恶劣嘛，那时候的人大概比我们现在的人更急于解脱吧，解脱这人生的痛苦。
The majority of people spent almost all of their time just trying to survive.
大部分人呢，就是挣扎在生存的线上。
So his message must have been very welcome.
他的信息福音可能就是比较受欢迎的。
Closely linked to the doctrine of suffering and the escape was the philosophy of the Eightfold Path: right views, aspirations, speech, conduct, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, and Gautama. It was not Gautama's intention to okay, and that's what we read from suffering. Rather, his desire, mortal man, futility. So his intention was to just say, there's nothing wrong with effort, desire, affection, but don't just get completely focused on these material things. Know that there's also there's Hold on. The true believer should also look beyond the associations of this material world to the realities of the eternal future. So basically, yeah, these things are not, there's nothing bad about material things. It's just that don't think there isn't more. We have a beautiful, wonderful, eternal future ahead of us. So don't worry so much about material things.
对，它就是着眼于让我们更看到着眼未来永恒的实相，而不是暂时的物质的实相。这个是光寄托在暂时的目标和物质目的上是徒劳无益的。
And the moral commandments of the Buddha were 5. Are these commandments still known today in China? These 5 commandments?
Yeah, it's well known by Buddhists.
Okay, because they're very similar, as I'm sure you know, but it's very similar to the 10 commandments of Moses from the Bible.
这个乔达摩的这5戒就跟那个摩西的那10戒是很相似的。
Well, the first 4 are actually 4 of the 10 commandments in the Bible, the same ones.
The first 这前3个就是实际上严格的对应10戒当中的3戒。
Okay, so the moral commandments. Oh, Rang, I'm going to read. If Rang, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I'm going to read the next section. Oh no, you already read it. You already read this, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just catching up. The moral commandments of Gautama's preachment were 5 in number. 1, you shall not kill. 2, you shall not steal. 3, you shall not be unchaste. 4, you shall not lie. 5, you shall not drink intoxicating liquors. Well, no wonder we don't have number 5. That would never be possible in the West. That was a joke.
对，不杀生，不偷盗，不淫邪，不妄语，不饮酒。
We like our intoxicating liquors in the West, except for Muslims.
西方人
Except for
很
Muslims.
喜欢喝酒，对，他们很喜欢喝酒。
But Muslims don't drink.
穆斯林是不喝酒的。
But Christians, they like their Christians even drink wine in church.
那基督徒就没有这些第5条那个戒律啊，他们甚至在教会喝酒，就是那个红葡萄酒，他们就是有的时候会把那个代表耶稣的血嘛，在那个主日的时候会喝那一小杯。
In Ireland, Ireland is completely 100% Catholic, and the religion is so mixed into their culture that they might all go to a party and drink and then go to church drunk.
那么爱尔兰是一个天主教的国家，他们这个跟当地文化那么非常的融合在一块儿，有可能开完 party 了，然后就醉醺醺的就去教会了。
The priests are such a part of the community. You know, there's like a priest in every family, and they're always at the parties drinking along with everyone else, or at the pub.
对，那个神父跟那社区的人都打成一片的，都跟他们都一起喝的。
It's really the Catholic religion is really. I've been to Ireland a few times, and the Catholic religion it's infused into their culture. It's almost more of a lifestyle than it's as much of a lifestyle as it is a religion at this point in a place like Ireland. So I'm not even sure that a lot of Catholics believe in God, but they would go to church anyway.
那么在那个地方，那个天主教就是说跟他们生活方式密切结合，那么去教会是一种生活方式，而严格来讲都没有什么宗教的意义了，他都很怀疑那些人是不是真的相信有上帝。
But religion is very different in America than it is in Ireland. Although, and I'm sure you've noticed this, Ricky, it's also very different in different parts of America.
那么这个宗教在美国就跟在爱尔兰不大一样，但是当然在美国不同的地区也是表现方式也不大一样。
Okay, so now I'm reading again. There were several additional or secondary commandments whose observance was optional with believers. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so you have to do these 5 things, but you can also, I strongly suggest you do these other things too.
这一段好像也读过了哈。
Ricky， 你好，我是 Eva。
Yeah，
我可以问个问题吗？
可以啊。
就是这个文中提到的这个5戒嘛，包括刚才黑迪说的那个基督教的10戒，那就是说这个《预染下》这本书里面没提到，就是这5戒或者是那10戒是必须要遵守的吗？就是说都是对的，还是怎么说？因为比如说我看第一个上面说不杀生，因为比如说宗教里面也会讲这个。但是比如说这条戒律是就是本身是正确的吗？还是或者是简单讲，就是说比如说我们吃东西到底是吃荤啊吃素啊，就是这种类型的话题，预染下里面有一个明确的给出的一个东西吗？
Okay. Heidi, I will have a question.
Okay.
Well, regarding those 5 commandments by Gautama's preachment, also regarding the 10 commandments given by the Moses in Old Testament, and what's the position in Urantia book? Does Urantia book endorse this commandment? Whether, for example, the first one you should not kill, and she kind of relate that with vegetarian lifestyle, whether Urantia book seems to also more honor the vegetarian, those avoid animal food and so on and so forth. So she wanna learn about how Urantia book view about these commandments.
Sure. Okay. The Urantia book does not talk about the 10 commandments. It's not the Urantia book. The teachings of the 10 commandments came before in the Old Testament, in the Old Bible, before the New Testament, before Jesus's teachings. Jesus had nothing to do with the 10 commandments. He may have referenced them when it was useful to make a point, but he did not say you have to follow the 10 commandments.
对，他就说到10戒啊，是旧约里边的东西，是在耶稣来到世上成为人子之前呢，那个旧约里边的教导。那么耶稣从来也不教导这个东西，除非就是当他要引用它来说明他的一个论点的时候，所以就是10戒不属于耶稣的教导。Okay.
For the Urantia book, Jesus was against animal sacrifice to God. He was 100% against animal sacrifice to God.
那么耶稣当然100%的反对用那个动物来献祭啊，来是给上帝献祭啊， 有动物来献祭，因为当时就是大家就是流行，那个样子，以为这样就可以得到上帝的宽恕嘛。那就是耶稣是非常反对用这个东西来用杀生来献祭的。
He made it clear that God does not require you to kill a living being or give him blood to make him happy.
那个就是神不需要你用生物的那个鲜血来使神来高兴，这个是无稽之谈。
That's why the doctrine of original sin that Paul, the Apostle Paul, invented is so absurd, because it's bringing back this idea that God needed a sacrifice. He sacrificed his begotten son to save the sinners. That's why that doctrine was not Jesus's doctrine, and he never mentioned it. And it makes no sense, because God does not need us to kill anyone or sacrifice anyone to make him happy. Not
所以
Jesus, not anyone else.
为什么基督教的那个原罪的学说，就是保罗发明的原罪的学说啊，认为这个神呢需要牺牲他的唯一的儿子来那个赎众人的罪，这种说法是无稽之谈。对，上帝不需要我牺牲任何一个人来就做任何的救赎或者是赎罪。
On the other hand, Jesus, as a wise teacher, he knew that people had been sacrificing to gods for thousands of years, and it would not be easy for them to just stop overnight. So at the Last Supper he had with his apostles before he died, before he was crucified, he drank wine, and he said, "This wine is my blood." So he gave them a substitute, because he knew they would need something, that they couldn't just stop sacrificing altogether. It was too ingrained in them for too many thousands of years. You understand what I'm saying?
那就是所以这个，因为这个关于动物献祭的这个习俗已经上千年了，那么耶稣在他的最后的晚餐当中呢，因为他也知道自己要被处死了嘛，他就是倒一杯酒，红葡萄酒，然后告诉他的门徒说这个是我的血，那么这个就是相当于用这个酒来作为一个替代代替品，然后这个是为了是符合人们那个根深蒂固的一种习俗，一种观念。
Jesus was not ritualistic, and he was not traditional. He did not require, he did not give commandments. His only commandment, he had one commandment: do the Father's will. Love your brothers. Love God the Father, love your brothers. That's his only commandment.
他就是不给人什么诫命啊，然后他就唯一的诫命就是爱神啊，遵照神的旨意啊，爱你的弟兄啊，这是他唯一的诫命，就是要爱啊。
Jesus ate meat all the time.
耶稣他一直都在吃肉。
Nowhere in the Urantia book does it say don't eat meat.
那约珥下之书没有一个地方说你不能吃肉。
However, when Jesus went to his good friend's house to have an Easter feast, and he was with his, usually he was just a guest, so he just ate whatever was served. But this time these were his very, very close friends, who he had known for since maybe since childhood, but for a long time. And they were like his surrogate family. And because he was so comfortable there, he said, let's make a feast that is not with any meat. So the one time that he got involved in the cooking, right, he chose not to eat meat. That was the one time.
那有一次在过节的时候，在一个很近的朋友家度过的，那么如果他在一般的人家里做客，他就是人家给他什么他就吃什么，但是这个好像是很少就在一起的那个朋友，像他的家人一样，那么他要亲自下厨，那么他就说他不要吃，我们不要吃任何的肉。
So he was also a fisherman, so you can be pretty sure he had no problem eating fish.
那他也还是渔夫，也打鱼，那么当然就是他肯定是没有问题，就吃鱼他是没有问题。
I would guess that if Jesus had lived in a home with a wife and children and had his own family and was involved in the food preparation, he would probably have eaten fish but not meat. That's my guess. Most of the time, but not fanatically.
对，他是有家人的，有孩子的，那么就可以设想他肯定就是说跟他们还是吃鱼的吧，至少是肉食类的。那在西方那个肉跟鱼是分开的，肉指的是那些动物，鱼是单独就是海鲜那一类的，是分开的。啊，这个地方他就海地就说有可能他至少是吃鱼的。
Jesus never said anything was wrong with the Ten Commandments.
这个耶稣从来没有说十诫有什么不对。
Obviously, they're good moral guidelines for society.
那么他们是很好的道德准绳。
You know, you shall not kill, you shall not steal, you shall not cheat on your spouse. You shall not lie. These are good rules to live by.
不能杀生啊，不能偷盗啊，不能这个不纯洁呀，不能撒谎啊，这些都是很好的道德水准去遵从的。
The problem is that there can arise situations where you might have to kill someone who's trying to kill you or your children. You might have to steal if it's the only way to keep your children alive that night. I mean, so the reason that commandments I think it's healthier and more realistic to use them as guidelines rather than absolute laws.
就是这个都没有绝对的。那么如果有人要杀你或者你的孩子，那你能不自卫反击吗？所以这些的戒律它只是一些的大的纲领，但是不要去绝对的去想象它是行为准则。
But the cheating, being unchaste, right? Cheating, if that's, well, no, being unchaste is not cheating, actually. That's just like lascivious behavior, right? That's just like you know, what we would call whoring around, right? Slutty behavior. Not that's probably not very good, but the I would say that cheating and lying are pretty serious commandments. I don't know if there's a commandment that says you should not cheat, but if there isn't, there should be. But you know, I think that, well, cheating is like lying, right? Because when you cheat on someone, you are lying to them. So let's just say lying. I think lying is a very, very good commandment to be aware of all the time, to just try. It's hard for us human beings, but try to be honest with yourself and with others, but with yourself as much as with others.
第3条跟第4条其实都跟撒谎啊、妄语有关系。那就是说我们就尽量对自己啊、对别人要诚实。
The bad trait that Jesus had the most disdain for was hypocrisy, and that's a form of lying.
耶稣最讨厌的就是伪君子那些的，尤其是那个时候的法利赛人，就是表面上宗教上好像很虔诚，但实际上心里边没有良善。
Okay, so did I answer the question?
Eva 他回答你的问题了吗？
基本上可以了，我再思考思考，谢谢。
Yes, she said yes. Basically, you have answered her questions,
Okay,
and
good.
she will think over.
Okay, good. So I think I was here where it says Siddhartha hardly believed in the immortality of the human personality. Did Rong read this part yet?
Yes, she did.
Okay. All the way, did she read all the way to the end?
Yeah, the whole paragraph.
Oh, all the way to section 9?
No. The whole paragraph.
Oh, just this
paragraph.
paragraph. Okay.
Yeah.
Siddhartha hardly believed in the immortality of the human personality. His philosophy only provided for a sort of functional continuity. He never clearly defined what he meant to include in the doctrine of nirvana. The fact that it could theoretically be experienced during mortal existence would indicate that it was not viewed as a state of complete annihilation. It implied a condition of supreme enlightenment and supernal bliss, wherein all fetters binding man to the material world had been broken. There was freedom from the desires of mortal life and deliverance from all danger of ever again experiencing incarnation.
Yeah. So, any comments on this paragraph?
Well, I think that I think it's interesting because, you know, in the West, they got so detailed about defining the afterlife and heaven, and they started getting carried away with little cupids playing violins and little horns and flying around and in the clouds and a big god, you know, with a big beard. They got a little too detailed in the West, and in the East, they got a little too vague about the afterlife. You know what I mean?
就是关于死后的世界呢，西方的比较的详细的给人一种那个图画呀，就是有奏乐啊，美妙的琴声啊，美妙的号角啊，大胡子的上帝啊，但是在西方呢，关于这种死后的境界比较模糊。
And then they make a very good point here, and that is that what they're saying is the followers of Buddha tend to believe that nirvana, where you go after you die, is a kind of obliteration, annihilation. You don't have a body. You no longer have a distinct personality. You just kind of merge with the mists of the cosmos. And the Urantia book is saying right here that the fact that it could theoretically be experienced during mortal existence proves that that's not what Buddha was describing as nirvana, because here in mortal existence, we have a body, we have a personality. We are not obliterated. We do not become one with the cosmos. And we can still, he said, we can experience nirvana here in this life. So he's saying that's another misinterpretation.
对，它就是那个涅槃，我们认为它就是什么寂灭、寂静，那个完全跟那个主体、跟那个一体和那个融合，然后没有你的人格的特质，然后这个就是涅槃的境界。但是实际上，月亮下之书，它就说，实际上它意味一种至高无上的觉悟和极乐的境界。那么就是打破了一切的束缚嘛，就是回归一种自由。那么实际上在你凡人生活的时候，你就可以都可以体验到这样的一种打破樊篱的这种自由。
but it was very vague because well, I want to read the next paragraph before I
OK，
comment more. Yeah, because they may say more about that one. Okay, I'm going to read the next paragraph, Ron. According to the original teachings of Gautama, salvation is achieved by human effort apart from divine help. There is no place for saving faith or prayers to superhuman powers. Gautama, in his attempt to minimize the superstitions of India, endeavored to turn men away from the blatant claims of magical salvation. And see, we're doing the baby in the bathwater again. And in making this effort, he left the door wide open for his successors to misinterpret his teachings and to proclaim that all human striving for attainment is distasteful and painful. His followers overlooked the fact that the highest happiness is linked with the intelligent and enthusiastic pursuit of worthy goals, and that such achievements constitute true progress in cosmic self-realization. Okay, Ron.
这个地方不大对哈，这个我来，这根据乔达摩的原始教育，就是通过人的努力实现的。这个正好相反 ，apart from divine help 就不需要神的帮助。这个地方我也没有仔细校对。不存在救赎的信仰或对超人力量的祈祷。乔达摩试图尽量减少印度的迷信，努力使人们远离公然宣称的魔法救赎。他的这一努力为他的后继者敞开了大门，使他们误解了他的教导，并宣称人类追求成就的一切努力都是令人厌恶和痛苦的。他的追随者们忽视了这样一个事实，即最高的幸福是与对有价值目标的智慧和热情追求联系在一起的。这种成就构成了宇宙自我实现的真正进步。
So Ricky, my comments, these early teachers, and even Jesus, with his, he had to give us the bread and the wine symbolic of his body and his blood because of these sacrifice tendencies for thousands of years that were just, all these early teachers, their big challenge was to overcome these phenomenal beliefs in superstition and magic and all kinds of crazy witchcraft and voodoo, and they were up until these teachers came along, the world was just, everything was superstition and witchcraft and magic. It was just, imbued into their lifestyle. So these teachers, before they could even give mankind a higher truth, they had to try to dispel these beliefs in magic and ritual. And by doing that, they sometimes, it was just too much to do for one person to do, to get rid of all those magical beliefs and rituals and traditions and myths and superstitions, and then give them a whole new religion that made perfect sense. It was just too much for one person to do in one lifetime, I think.
对，这个他提到这个佛陀呀，他是因为当时人都是很迷信的嘛，就是要通过仪式啊，通过请神啊，什么东西，就是要博得神的喜欢，然后才能得到救赎啊，这样一种的基于恐惧的宗教信念是非常的根深蒂固的，还有通过牺牲的方式来这种仪式，就是所以那个佛陀相当于来破迷信的嘛，就相当于我们的破迷信的就是通过人的努力可以实现的不存在信仰或超人力量。他当然他这样努力的 这种的那个，他不可能同时他又又那个，就有点矫枉过正了。然后呢，他的后继者相当于沿着这个方向去，但是又离开了中道，然后又就是对，就是相当于又完全的没有信神的仰靠神的这一面了，这是我的理解。
So people have to evolve in stages: civilization, society, culture, and religion. And nothing, when things happen too dramatically, there's always a backlash. There's always a regression afterwards. The way to create a stable path forward is to make changes incrementally in steps so that people have time to absorb it and to make it their reality before they take on the next step. So otherwise they just revert back. It's like an alcoholic who stops drinking, and then the minute they're in a stressful situation, they have to go back to drinking because they haven't really tackled the underlying cause of their drinking.
对，他就
So
说这个宗教的这个思想意识形态的转变呢，是要慢慢的转变，慢慢的就是说在这原来的一种信仰的系统的基础上哈，慢慢的吸收新的教导，来达到一种那个转变，不能够马上切换，就像那些喝酒的，还有那个抽烟的，那个你让他一下子断，他就会有戒断反应嘛。那个也挺吓人的，也那个曾经我看过报道，就是抽烟的人一下子停，那真的有致命的。那个喝酒的人也是戒断反应，那有可能就去住院去了啊。所以他就说这个不能够马上的那个，他是需要一个逐渐的一个过程，一个转变。对你这个，你包括那个耶稣他临上十字架，他还给这个信徒倒酒嘛，那就是说这个代表我的血，就是说那个也是相当于承继他们这些信徒已经有的一些信念系统，怎么说的 ？OK，
So I'm very, more than anyone else probably in the world, I'm very critical of people in the East and the West and the Middle East, and for diluting and contaminating the pure religions they were given. But I'm probably being unfair because the doctrine of original sin, Paul's crazy Catholicism in the West, and this watered down, contaminated Buddhism in the East, and all these things, it probably had to go that way. They were still, we should still give them credit. They still made a big step forward to what they believed before.
对，就是那个我可能是就是对东西方啊，甚至中东的这些宗教是最那个强烈的批评的，因为他们就是稀释了和混淆了那个纯正的教导，尤其是你看像西方的这个教义，保罗所提出的这些的基督教，那么他们还有东方的这些的，传下来的这些宗教都实际上稀释了。原来的教义歪曲了原来的教义，但是呢，我想我还是需要给他们那个一些的那个荣誉，因为有可能他们还是把这个整个人类的意识的进步往前挪了一步。
And individuals are not slaves to culture and tradition. Individuals can always have higher beliefs and purer beliefs. They have their thought adjusters, their guardian angels, they have the spirit of truth. They have so many influences leading them to higher truth if they're ready for it.
对，那么就是你看，尤其现在我们有这么多的那个有保护天使啊、思想调整者呀、真理 之灵啊，那么就是这些的帮助我们可能更好的来那个来就是解除就传统啊文化呀对我们的一些的思想的束缚。
On top of that, when the people are ready for the next revelation, it will be given to them. As we can see, this is number 5.
当人们就是做好准备的时候，那么新的启示就会给他们。你看，像现在就是第5个行星启示就已经给了我们。
Prince Caligastia, 500,000 years ago, Prince Caligastia didn't teach the primitive people of those days all of the things that are in the Urantia book. They didn't need to know that there are 7 super universes, and they didn't need to know about, maybe they knew about Havona a little bit, but they didn't need to know about the Ancients of Days and the Lananandex and the, Morantia worlds. They weren't ready for all that. So each revelation gives a little more, a little more, a little more. And any truth that we mix up, we'll get it again in the next revelation, and then we'll be ready for it. And then we'll probably mix something else up.
你看哈里加夏当时来地球的时候，50万年前来地球的时候，那个他教导绝对不会给那些原始的人类来教导关于7个超级宇宙，关于哈瓦那天堂这些的信息。那么也不会知道那个关于宰下世界啊，还有这些，就是说每一次的启示他都会来给一些的信息，然后再就是合适的那个信息我们能够接受的。当然我们然后呢会用我们的成见去稀释，但是呢再下一次的启示会来纠正，是这样一个拨乱反正的这么一个过程。
So the teachings of Buddha were on top of getting confused and misinterpreted. They were also a little bit confusing to begin with, because, for instance, he's saying you have to transcend the material and know that there's nirvana, there's a future life of bliss and perfection. But he's also saying, don't pray, don't ask for help for any higher beings. You can only achieve salvation with human effort. There's no divine help. Forget about it. There's no praying. Don't even bother to pray or anything like that. The superhuman powers aren't going to help you. You've got to do it yourself. So in a way, he's giving a double message. He's saying, don't get too caught up in the material. There's a better spiritual path. And then he's saying, well, don't rely on the spiritual path for happiness. You've got to get there on your own in the material world, right?
Oh yeah, I saw the dilemma here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So his message was a little bit confusing to begin with. That's what I'm saying. But then they messed it up more.
Yeah. 那就是也就是佛陀基本上来讲，他就是说你不要去祷告啊，不要跟那个的存有去求助啊，高的存有去求助啊，你自己要自己靠自己的努力啊。但是呢，他一方面他就说你要看透这个物质世界的虚妄啊，要寻求精神解脱呀。所以呢，就是稍微就是有一点矛盾在这个地方。
So the other thing was he couldn't teach people to pray or to rely on divine intervention or help, because he didn't believe in God. He believed that in the perfection of the universe, but he didn't believe that there was a person, a God who was an actual person. So why would you pray if there is no person out there who can help you?
因为另一方面他没有寻求神圣干预，因为他也不相信有神，有这么一个神 格的存在的，虽然他相信宇宙的完美。
Prayer is and worship is communication from one person to another.
像祷告啊、崇拜呀、敬拜呀，这都是这个一个人跟另外一个人的这种关系。
There's no reason to pray just to a perfect cosmos. It would be like praying to a sunset or praying to the Grand Canyon. They're not going to hear you, you know, so you can appreciate it. You can try to become one with it. You can try to achieve the beauty and the perfection of it, but there's no point in praying to a sunset.
对，那个你不会去跟一个日落去祷告，去跟大峡谷去祷告，你可能会珍赏他们的美丽。对，就是说，对，如果你不把那个神作为一个神格，你不会想到要去祷告和崇拜。
On top of that, he was probably trying also so hard to get rid of all of their superstitions and belief in like all these different kinds of, you know, gods and ghosts and demons and whatever they were probably praying to, that he probably thought it was best if they didn't pray at all.
那么当然他要破除迷信啊，应该就包括不要跟那些鬼魂啊、魔鬼啊去祷告啊，去求什么东西，就是相当于他是做这样的一个努力，当然就是也相当于也是那种的把孩子跟石头水一起破了，对啊，那相当于把人敬神的这一条路也堵死了。
Yeah, it says right here that in his attempt to minimize the superstitions of India, he tried to turn men away from all claims of magical salvation. So you know, he was, you know, it's always tricky. Even today, there's a fine line between superstition and magical imagination and messing around in realms we have no business being in, and actually believing in true supernatural events and gods and angels and miracles. There's a very fine line between one belief that is pure and holy and godly and another that is a little bit warped and diluted.
即使到现在，其实也很难区分你是就是说纯粹出于想象的那种的，迷信的，那种的，灵性体验，还是就是你是纯粹的很圣洁的敬拜神，其实也很难去画一个很明显的界限。
So even though he said, wait, hold on. His followers are with the highest happiness is linked with the intelligent, enthusiastic person. So even though he said that the way to salvation was to do it yourself, to not rely on superhuman powers, his followers decided that this was too much work, wasn't any fun, and you should just his followers overlooked the fact that the highest happiness is linked with intelligence, to proclaim that all human striving, they decided that all human striving for attainment is distasteful and painful. They decided that you just wanted to avoid pain. So better not to even try too hard, because it's just going to be full of pain and disappointment. That's what his followers decided, but he didn't really teach that.
对，就是说他的后继者呢，就是相当于宣称就是去避免人类追求成就的一切努力，因为这些努力都会带来痛苦哈。可是实际上那个佛陀并没有教导这个。
So it says his followers overlooked the fact. Now that's saying his followers, so it meant that he didn't overlook it. He knew this, but his followers didn't grasp it, that that the highest happiness is linked with the intelligent and enthusiastic pursuit of worthy goals, and that such achievements constitute true progress in cosmic self-realization. So, okay, that's the last sentence on that paragraph.
对，他只是重复这一段的最后一句话，追求幸福啊，价值完成啊，智慧和热情的追求目标，这是构成价值完成的基础。
Now this is an interesting sentence because this is saying that the highest happiness. Now it's not talking about God or Jesus. It's saying the highest happiness is linked with the intelligent and enthusiastic pursuit of worthy goals, and that such achievements constitute true progress in cosmic self-realization. So basically this is telling you, this is saying right here that you can be perfectly at the highest happiness and achieve cosmic self-realization. Cosmic self-realization means beyond material, beyond mortal. You're on your way to divine reality, even if you don't believe in divinity, even if you don't believe in God. That's what that's saying. So it's saying that if you really did follow the Buddha's way and didn't misinterpret it, you could still achieve ultimate happiness, even though it was a godless religion. That's what it's saying. So that's very interesting.
对，即使是你不信神，但是呢，你就是遵循你的最高冲动，你那个有在智慧和热情的指导下追求你这个人生的那个值得的那些的目标，那还是会达到最高的幸福。你不见得一定是信神，并且你这样的一种追求也是跟那个宇宙的自我实现是一致的啊，不是说那个宇宙的实现、自我实现。就是说明它是在物质这一层面之上的。
So people always say, you know, do you have to be a Christian to get to heaven? Do you have to believe in Jesus? Do you have to believe in God? Do you have, you know, how do you know you're going to survive? Well, this is telling you right here that the highest happiness is linked with intelligent and enthusiastic pursuit of worthy goals. Worthy goals, not just getting rich or getting a fancy car. Worthy goals.
Yeah, 对，所以呢，有人经常会疑问说，哎，我是不是要成为基督徒才能够进天堂啊？怎么样的？实际上这一段给我们一个很好的那个什么，你就是不需要信这些的任何的宗教，但是只要你是追求的是那个有价值的目标啊，在智慧和热情里面追求有价值的目标，不是说你就是有好房好车呀这样的物质的目标，那么你追求更有价值的目标，那么这就是你的最高的价值完成。
It says that if you achieve this one thing, the enthusiastic pursuit of worthy goals, it will constitute true progress in cosmic self-realization. That's not self-realization. That's progress in self-realization. Obviously, if you're making progress in self-realization, you're going to get to the next world. You're going to get there. You may not fuse immediately with your
对，他就说这个地方还不是说那个什么，还是说你就朝着这个自我实现、宇宙自我实现方向，你这个只要进步了啊，往着这个方向进步了，那就是你就是已经是很大的价值完成了啊，而不是说你实现了一个什么什么，就是说你朝着这个方向去了，你就是已经确保你相当于能去在下世界，就合格去在下世界了。
When you get judged on Judgment Day, and it's determined whether or not you are ready to go to the next world, they're not going to say he's making great progress towards self-realization, but he doesn't make it. He doesn't believe in God, so forget it. We're not letting him in. He's gonna, blow out his candle. That makes no sense. Of course, if you're making great progress towards self-realization, you're on your way. It even uses the word cosmic self-realization. So it's saying whether you know it or not, you're developing your soul. That's what that's saying. If you pursue worthy goals, good, worthy goals, moral, ethical behavior, you are developing your soul. And that's a cosmic reality, whether you know it or not. So if you don't have a strong belief in God, some people just, they just don't have it. They want it. Maybe they don't want it. You can still achieve a great progress towards self-realization in this lifetime.
对，就是它的总的来讲，就是不需要你就是有意识的说你信神，但是你就是做这个符合伦理道德的行为，然后追求的目标是这样纯正的那个有价值的，那么也是你也是就是说符合这个宇宙的自我实现的这个标准的，你只要在这条路上，那么就是被认可的。
And eventually that cosmic self-actualization, self-realization will lead you to God. That's where it goes. That's where we're all going, whether we like it or not.
那宇宙自我实现的那个就是最终会引导你向神，这是一条路上的。
Now, you will not get there by sitting, on a nice little yoga mat, meditate, repeating the same mantra over and over and over again for an hour and thinking about, that you're one with the universe. That's not how you get there.
这个海蒂是认为呢，你在瑜伽垫子上就是做反复的重念一个咒语，然后想要合一，这个是不能够带你去跟那个合一的。他这样认为。
You can pray and meditate and commune. You can commune with nature. You can talk to trees. All these things are wonderful. You should do all these things. But that alone, you also need to work towards worthy goals.
那你去祷告啊，在这个树下冥想啊，跟自然合一啊，也是很好的实践。但是呢，你还要去做一些的有价值的目标啊，就是来真正的走在就是更切实的灵性的路上。
You can't avoid material reality to get past it to a more spiritual reality. You have to go through it. You have to embrace it. You have to tackle it. You have to conquer it. That's why we're here on this world, to do just that.
他说你必须要正式的面对这个物质世界啊，不能回避它啊，你面对这个物质的实相，你拥抱它啊，去解决它，去战胜它啊，这不能跨越这一步的。
The goal is to transcend it, but we cannot transcend it by avoiding it or dismissing it. We have to go through it. We have to embrace it.
对，我们要超越，但是我们不能够通过避免啊回避的方式来超越，必须就是说要正式的面对，正式的体验。
In the East, they have a tendency to think they can just go around it. Forget it. It's not worthy of their attention. They can just transcend it and go to the next place.
那东方的人呢，修行的人呢，就往往有的就会说，我要回避它，我绕过它，走到下一个阶段 这个是行不通的。
In the West, they get obsessed with material reality and they forget that there is a next place.
西方呢，他们往往就是被物质的实相就绑住了，然后占据了，然后他们根本就不知道还有另外的实相。
The West is very vague about heaven too. The Christianity believes in heaven and hell, but they are very vague concepts. I mean, they're very specific in some respects, but they're very hard to believe. Their picture of these things. So it ends up in most people's minds being either dismissed or very vague.
对，当然基督徒他们有比较那个的坚固的关于天堂地狱的概念，但是一般人就是对这些东西并不能在乎。
Okay, Ron, I'm reading the last two beautiful paragraphs here. The great truth of Siddhartha's teaching was his proclamation of a universe of absolute justice. He taught the best godless philosophy ever invented by mortal man. It was the ideal humanism and most effectively removed all grounds for superstition, magical rituals, and fear of ghosts or demons. And then I'll read the next one. The great weakness in the original gospel of Buddhism was that it did not produce a religion of unselfish social service. The Buddhistic brotherhood was, for a long time, not a fraternity of believers, but rather a community of student teachers. Gautama forbade their receiving money and thereby sought to prevent the growth of hierarchical tendencies. Gautama himself was highly social. Indeed, his life was much greater than his preachment. Okay, Ron.
释迦牟尼教导的伟大真理是他宣布了一个绝对公正的宇宙。他传授了凡人有史以来最好的无神哲学，这是理想的人文主义，最有效地消除了迷信、魔法仪式和对鬼神的恐惧。最初的佛教福音的最大弱点是没有产生一种无私的社会服务宗教。在很长一段时间里，佛教兄弟会不是一个信徒的兄弟会，而是一个学生教师的团体。乔达摩禁止他们收受钱财，以此来防止等级倾向的滋生。乔达摩本身具有很强的社会性，事实上，他的生活远比他的传教伟大得多。Thank you.
So thank you. So Ricky, the great truth was that he produced the greatest godless philosophy ever invented on this planet.
Yeah. 这个佛陀的伟大的真理宣布了一个绝对公正的宇宙。
It was the ideal human. It most effectively removed all grounds for superstition, magical rituals, and fear of ghosts or demons. Imagine one man in one lifetime creating a religion that removed all the reasons for you to believe in superstition, magical rituals, and to fear ghosts and demons. That's a major, I would say almost miraculous accomplishment.
这个地方那个盛赞那个佛陀的贡献哈，他是这个无神哲学哈，有效的他的这个一生的教导哈， 就有效的消除了迷信、魔法仪式和对鬼神的恐惧，那么他的成就是非凡的。
And then this is also very, very interesting, this last paragraph, because it says that this is very interesting, because it says the weakness was that it did not produce a religion of unselfish social service. The brotherhood was not for a long time, not a fraternity, but a community of student teachers. So there, and then it says he himself was highly social, and his life was better than the religion that he produced. So had they just emulated him, lived like him, they would have done much better than to follow their misinterpretation of his teachings.
对，他就说他其实那个乔达摩本人是非常的接触大众的，但是呢，他的群体呢却是往往一个封闭的学生，教师这么师傅哈，这个团体是比较封闭的，不太有社会性。所以呢，实际上如果是他的信徒们，模仿他的生活方式，可能其实更可能会这个教导可能走偏的，会少一些。
They're saying the solitary messenger is saying, oh no, this isn't the solitary messenger. This is, was this a mighty messenger? Who wrote this? Let's see who wrote that. Yeah, no, this is a Melchizedek is who's writing this. So he's saying that this is a very important sentence. The Buddhistic brotherhood was not a fraternity of believers, but a community of student teachers. So when you have a new religion, there's two ways you can approach it. You can become a fraternity of believers, so you're connected to each other through your belief, and you're trying to live these beliefs in your life, and you're doing it says here, produce a religion of unselfish social service. So you're taking what you've learned and you're trying to give it to people in the form of helping them. That's one way. That's one approach.
它是有两种方式来这个传教哈，一种方式就是你把这些的信徒哈能成团体，然后呢争取在生活当中活出你的信仰，然后给出就是在社区当中你通过给出的服务的方式来获得信众。
When you do this, your beliefs is what holds you all together and what drives you to do good. And that belief becomes infectious, and all the people you touch and all the people you help will want to believe the way you believe. Even if they don't accept your religion, they'll accept the spirit of your religion, the frequency of your vibration. They will resonate with the good and the God within you.
那就是你那个这样的话呢，这些的信徒呢就被这个信仰呢就凝聚在一起呢，有动力去做好事啊，帮助人呢。那这样的话，更多的人呢，他愿意就相信你的信仰，然后呢，你在这里边有很好的良性的振动频率，然后人们都会跟你同频。
Urantia book readers always forget that Jesus and his apostles went around healing the sick and helping the needy.
那这预言下之书的作者往往就都忘记了耶稣和他的门徒呢，就到处走啊，然后 疗愈人呢，给人提供就是对需要的人提供帮助。
Jesus's philosophy seems to me to be, let's feed your body and then we'll feed your soul. That seems to be more like what he was doing.
他就说那个通过那个耶稣的就是这个哲学，就是说通过喂养你的身体来喂养你的灵魂。
The other approach to when you're the the lucky recipient of a new revelation is to become a group of student teachers.
第二种方式呢，就是形成一个学生教和学的这么一个团体。
You study the message or the religion, and then you quickly go out and start teaching it to everyone else.
你学到了这个教导，你赶快就出去就开始传教了。
And that's what this is saying. That was their big mistake. They should have been a fraternity of believers, a brotherhood, living the teachings, and instead they became student teachers. They just wanted to, oh, great, now I know all this truth. I'm going to go teach it to everyone.
这个地方就是说是个他没有发展第一种啊，就是在以信众作为这个一个发展出这么一信众的团体，但是呢，他确实沿着培养教师的这个方向去了，培养教师然后出去传教这个方向去了。
Sick people and hungry people, even spiritually hungry people, are going to be more moved by people who want to love them and help them and be their brother than someone who comes along and says, hey, whatever you want, whatever you believe isn't right. I've got the true belief and I'm going to tell you what's true. I'm going to tell you what's right. I'm going to tell you how you should believe. That's not as effective.
对，那就是说那些生病的、饥饿的人呢，他们是需要你给他们爱，给他们帮助，但是呢，如果你就是去告诉他们说啊，你相信的都不是真的，我给你告诉你真的正确的道路啊，你应该听我的。那么，当然第一种应该是更有效一些。
So I think that, I think it's easier to teach something than it is to try to live it and incorporate it into your own life and your own actions.
就是他认为就是你纯粹的教别人是容易的，比你融入到他们的生活，用你的实际的行动来感化他们要容易。
I told Ricky this the other day, that my father was like a spiritual guru.
对，我告诉Ricky 前2天，就是我的父亲是一个就是灵性上面的导师。
He was very good at teaching other people about the truth.
他教导人真理，说起来头头是道。
And people looked up to him and admired him his whole life.
那个人们非常的敬仰他，他终其一生受到人的敬仰。
And after he died, people wrote to me, 1 or 2. He didn't have many followers, but he always had a few. But 1 or 2 people said, your father was such a great teacher, such an amazing man.
那么他的追随者在他死后呢，就告诉我，哎呀，你的父亲是多么棒的一个人啊，这么就是对，很棒。
And I can tell you that I love him. I love my dad very much, but he was not a good father.
我告诉你，我是很爱我的父亲，但是我也承认他不是一个好父亲。
So maybe, you know, I think he would have made more progress on his, you know, cosmic self-realization if he had focused more on being a good father than being a good teacher about truth.
我就认为他可能就是如果他更那个集中在作为一个宇宙的价值实现的目标上，就是一个好父亲，去比他成为一个出色的灵性导师，可能更接近于他的那个宇宙的价值实现。
To teach people about love and giving when you can't even love and give to your own children, to me, seems like you've lost your way.
他就说，如果你教导别人爱呀，教导别人给呀，要无私的给呀，但是呢，对你自己的孩子却没有爱，没有给的话，那么这个就相当于就不走在正道上了。
And I think this is one of the reasons I'm so sensitive to people who put so much emphasis on teaching others rather than trying to be what they're teaching.
对，所以我就是对那个，如果有人那个，他呢就是乐于就是热衷于教导别人，但是呢又没有行出他们教导的东西，这样的方式非常的敏感。
So we have a few more sections: the spread of Buddhism, religion in Tibet, Buddhist philosophy, the God concept of Buddhism, and then we're done with this section on religion in China.
对，我们还有几个部分，那个像什么西藏的佛教的传播呀，西藏的宗教啊，还有佛教哲学啊，然后我们这一部分就完成了，就是。
And
Okay.
that wraps us up for today. Does anyone have any questions?
对，今天那个正式的读书就到这里了，有伙伴有问题吗？
There's so many people still here.
Yeah, I
Usually when
think
usually by the time we end, there's only 2 people
we
left.
have 8. That's an amazing accomplishment.
It's because starting early is a good idea.
Starting early is a good idea. Yeah, we wrapped up early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
伙
ending a
伴
little
们有问
sooner.
题赶快提。
Although we don't know, we asked them if they're asleep. We don't know how many are sleeping.
他就问还有谁在醒着？
Still alive. I'm Qinghua.
清华 Yeah, welcome 清华。
Okay, one's awake. One's awake.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Thank you, Rong. I don't know if Rong is still with us. She may have gone now.
Ron, yeah, Ron is gone. Yeah, Ron has something else to do, so she left.
Yeah, but I mean, it's late in China, so doesn't she have to go to sleep?
Yeah, 11 o'clock, of course.
Yeah.
清华，你有什么问题吗？
So far, so good.
清
But
华，
actually, it's really I'm inspired by those messages, especially through the Chinese culture, just like a Buddhist. Almost people would say, Buddhist, this religion is belong to China, but specifically it's from India. But as time goes by, this becomes one part of our history. So I think it's, I don't know, I still digest those messages, and just like had you mentioned before, no matter what kind of religion we embrace, but the purpose of, I think the purpose is just to be a better person.
Yeah, I think I love that because, you know, that's always the big question is, do you have to believe in Jesus? Do you have to believe in, not all you have to do is do your best. That's all that's asked of us, is that we do our best, that we try to do the right thing.
True, exactly. Yeah. Ricky， 我可以帮你翻译这一段。
对，
就是
你翻译。
刚才跟海蒂说，就是其实今天的读书会很备受鼓舞。那因为讲到佛教，就是华人都会认为这也是属于我们的一部分，但其实它也是从印度来。然后在生活中里面，大家都会觉得，你一定要信什么宗教才怎么样子。但其实我觉得这些它的 purpose， 这些目标和目的都是希望自己可以成为一个更好的人。这样 ，Thank you。
就你落实，就是一定要落实到你还是在三维世界的行事为人上面，不在乎你信不信宗教，你信哪一个宗教，你就是实行那些的戒律啊，有多么的那个就是对啊，或者甚至是你多么属灵的一个导师，这都不重要，重要的是你怎么样处事为人，你有没有活出爱，对，尤其是对身边的人，对。
Ricky, will you translate what she said?
Basically, Xinhua already translated whatever question, and
She asked me. Yeah, I get it. She asked me in English, and then she translated into Chinese.
Yes, and
Okay.
also my reflection is also that you know, it's not religion you abide by or what spiritual teaching you have learned. It is how you act, you know, in how you do in this life, in the mortal life, that matters a lot.
And not what you do, right? Not what you do, how you do.
And how you do, and also whether or not you are endeavoring, 你是不是努力去做好，对。
You are what?
Whether you are on the right path.
Yeah. That's or try or sincerely, you know, or sincerely wanting to be on the right path.
是不是很忠诚的希望你能够在正确的道路？就是说你的愿望可能比你的成就更重要。对。
Did I told you guys, I told this group about the dream I had that I met Jesus, right?
Yeah, I think so, long ago. 他说有没有记得他曾经提过他在梦里边曾经梦见过耶稣。
And when I had that dream, I was not on the right path.
那就是我梦见那个的时候，实际上那个时候我没有在正确的道路上。
But I wanted so desperately to get on the right path.
但是我很挣扎的就想要回到正确的路上。
And in the dream, he put his arm around me, around my shoulder, and he said, "Don't worry, Heidi, your time will come." No. He said, sorry, "Don't worry, your time is almost here."
他就搭在我肩膀上，告诉我说：“不要担心，你的时间会到的。”
The fact that I was not on the right path didn't matter. What mattered was I wanted to be on the right path.
对，就是说，就是我还没有在正确的路上的这个事实并不重要，而是就是我争取要走上正道，这个是最重要的。
And after that dream, I knew I would find my way to my path.
那这个梦给我一种安心，说我会找到回到正道的路的。
And I feel like I'm still finding my way there.
我现在还是觉得我正在找那个正确的道的这个过程当中。
For some of us, it takes a long time.
对于我们有些人来说，这个的确是很花时间。
We strayed so far away from it. It takes a while to come back.
我们飘离的太远了，所以要花不少的努力和时间来回归。
You know, I know that there's so many people in the world never even heard of Jesus, or they grow up in a very godless family, godless community. You know that God is not going to punish people for not believing in something they never heard of.
那你看，就是世界上其实还有那么多人生活在根本就听不到神呐、听不到耶稣啊这些的福音的地方，但是呢，神不会就是惩罚那些人没有机会听到这个福音，不会惩罚这些人。
And I think God is very, very, very patient and not judgmental.
那神是非常的有耐心，并且是不评判的，
So that's how we should be with ourselves.
所以我们也要对自己有这份耐心，也不要评判。
So I'm glad you're enjoying the part about the Chinese religion. I knew you would love this part.
我很高兴你们喜欢这个关于中国的宗教的这一部分，我知道你们会很感兴趣的。Thank you, Heidi.
Thank you. I guess we should let these nice people go to sleep. I could keep them up all night.
You are so amazing. 还有别的伙伴有什么问题吗？关于今天的课啦，还是任何的问题想跟他探讨呢？我可以把那个录音关。